Chapter 687. The gung metal divine body was in between a liquid and a gas state. Many granules were formed and filled the air. Refine. Jiang Tian kept refining the Xingyang Dragon Tiger Golden Core. In the end, all the gung metal in his body turned into a gas state. Jiang Tian's body also expanded a few times and became 12 meters tall. His head was close to the roof of the palace, like a balloon that had been blown up. Suddenly, the golden lake in Jiang Tian's forehead flickered. Golden runes appeared in the gung metal divine body. The runes spread from the endless void. More and more of them were densely packed like sand in the Ganges River. Moreover, every single talisman carried profound meaning, and every single word was like a gem that contained the laws of the heavens and the earth and Grand Tao secret techniques. These runes were impervious to fire and water. They weren't even afraid of the high temperature and flames created by the Xingyang Dragon Tiger Golden Core. After a series of flashes, the runes started to combine with every gung metal particle in Jiang Tian's body. Every time they combined, the sound of heaven and earth would be heard from Jiang Tian's body. It was like the sound of a golden bell and heavenly music, giving people a feeling of holiness, vastness and glory. After a few days of hard work, every gung metal particle in Jiang Tian's body finally combined with a rune. Boom! At this time, Jiang Tian's body emitted thousands of rays of golden light, thousands of auspicious colors, clouds and rosy clouds. All kinds of strange phenomena appeared and were extremely dazzling. In addition, the sound of heaven and earth from his body was endless. Jiang Tian's temperament had changed. It was as if a Buddha had come to the mortal world with his feet on a lotus platform, or a true God who looked down on the world. Jiang Tian suddenly opened his eyes and showed a hint of joy. Every tiny gung metal particle in my body is engraved with the immortal golden body divine ability runes. And these runes can be connected to my divine consciousness. I can change my form at will now. If I want to go into the void, I can spread it dozens of kilometers in an instant. It's even emptier than a vacuum. There's less than one gung metal particle per cubic meter. Even a nuclear explosion can't destroy it. Jiang Tian looked arrogant, as if he could pierce through the entire blue planet with his sword and stomp on a part of the universe. If you want to solidify it, it can instantly become 10 times more solid than diamond and titanium alloy, and its lethality will multiply. At this time, Zhang Qianlei was sitting cross-legged under a pine tree outside the main hall. Tang Linglong was standing behind him. Beside her, Dong Xin and several other elders were cautiously attending to him. Suddenly, a vast aura of Gungjin surged out from the hall where Jiang Tian was. Rumble. A Gungjin deity shadow that was more than hundreds of meters tall and looked like a mountain appeared in the air. This golden statue was somewhat faint. It wore a dragon robe and was covered in armor. It had a crown on its head and its body was straight. It gave people the feeling that it was standing on the ground and supporting the sky. At the same time, a ferocious aura came crashing down. Hiss. Such a huge statue of a god, could it be that a true god has come out of the mountains? Dong Xin and many other elders of the Wudong sect looked up and exclaimed. They all gasped as if they had seen a ghost. They were shocked to see that countless spiritual qi of heaven and earth were immediately devoured and turned into a part of the indestructible golden body. The spiritual qi of heaven and earth was swirling uneasily. It was so dense that it was like clouds and mist. The speed of devouring was so fast that the friction between the air currents created flashes of lightning. This is Kong Teichu's breakthrough and condensed the indestructible golden body. I didn't expect it to be so powerful. Zhang Qianlei exclaimed in disbelief. Even with his cultivation at the peak of the half-step human immortal realm, he was still frightened when facing the golden body. He couldn't help but take a few steps back. Rumble. As Jiang Tian changed his cultivation method, the indestructible golden body disappeared and suddenly appeared in the main hall. The uneasy spiritual qi of heaven and earth gradually calmed down. Indestructible golden body, what is indestructible? A trace of pride flashed in Jiang Tian's eyes and he sighed. Between life and death, there is a heart that can be switched at will. Existence and nothingness are under my control. That is indestructible. The experiment proved that the indestructible golden body was very easy to use. It disappeared in an instant and then condensed a few kilometers away. Then, after being nourished by the Xingyang Dragon Tiger Golden Core, Jiang Tian's cultivation also reached the 8th level of qi refinement. He was very close to the foundation establishment. Jiang Tianjin felt a sense of ecstasy. After stabilizing this divine ability, Jiang Tian began to try to activate the seamless body technique divine ability. Whoosh. At the same time, Jiang Tian began to devour the spiritual qi of the earth veins under the Wudong mountain. Every time he breathed, he devoured a mass of spiritual qi of the earth veins like a giant whale sucking in water. In just the time of a few breaths, it actually caused the sect-guarding grand formation that was based on this formation to almost collapse, and it directly shocked Elder Dongxin and the others to the point their souls almost left their bodies. Zhang Qianlei thought that since Jiang Tian had broken through so quickly, he would definitely come out of seclusion after a month. He didn't expect that Jiang Tian hadn't come out of seclusion for another month and a half. Zhang Qianlei was anxious and he couldn't help but stomp his feet. It's not a big deal to be in seclusion. The key is that the deity of Nine Swords is about to open. What if someone else takes the initiative? Old Jiang. Why is he addicted to cultivation? Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, Zhang Qianlei was so anxious that he scratched his head and was about to kick the door open and enter the main hall. Suddenly, boom, there was a loud bang. The entire main hall exploded. Bricks and tiles flew everywhere and smoke billowed as if 10,000 tons of explosives had exploded. An unparalleled and enormous imposing aura rose steadily and shot into the 9 heavens, causing the clouds and mist to roil. The majestic and towering peak of the entire Wudong mountain trembled violently. Rings of clouds rippled out for more than 10 kilometers. Zhang Qianlei was the first to bear the brunt and was thrown hundreds of meters away. Fortunately, he didn't spit out a mouthful of blood. As for the many elders of the Wudong sect, some of them rolled their eyes and fell to the ground stiffly, while others were sent flying backward with blood spurting out of their mouths. No way, old Jiang, he broke through again. Zhang Qianlei stepped on the void and exclaimed repeatedly. He felt the powerful energy as if he had seen a ghost. Even with his vast knowledge, he had never seen such a powerful aura before. He suspected that this was a real Earth-level deity, or even stronger than an Earth-level deity and comparable to a sky immortal. Just the energy that burst out unintentionally at the moment of the breakthrough had thrown him hundreds of meters away. If he had done it deliberately, he could have killed him with just a raise of his hand. No, I have to work hard on my cultivation. Old Jiang is too fast. If I don't improve, how can I be a good friend? Zhang Qianlei suddenly felt a little pressure and a little disappointed. He felt that in front of Jiang Tian's terrifying strength, not to mention Yi Tianren, even the Kunlun sect master Lin Qingyang was slightly inferior. However, what surprised Zhang Qianlei was that after the energy rose to a peak, it slowly fell back and finally stabilized at a slightly inferior level. But this slightly inferior was only relative. In terms of absolute value, it was still quite powerful. Just as Zhang Qianlei was puzzled, Jiang Tian walked out of the billowing smoke and dust. He didn't have any energy at all, as if he was an ordinary person. This should be an extremely brilliant qi concealment technique. Zhang Qianlei's heart skipped a beat and he quickly flew over. Jiang Tian flicked his sleeves and said with a free and easy smile, "Brother Qianlei, you weren't hurt just now, were you?" Although Zhang Qianlei's chest was in pain from the shock, he still smiled proudly and said stubbornly, "Old Jiang, with your cultivation, how could you hurt me? Isn't our cultivation about the same?" "That's true." Jiang Tian didn't expose him and asked with a smile, "How long have I been in seclusion this time?" 2 months. Zhang Qianlei glared and said, "Let's go quickly. If we don't go to the Immortal of Nine Swords' treasure, someone else will take the first place." 2 months. Jiang Tian's divine sense swept over the earth qi spiritual vein that was about to dry up, and he felt a little regretful. If there was enough earth qi spiritual vein, he could smoothly break through to the 9th level of qi refinement. But now he was only at the 8th level of qi refinement. In fact, even if there wasn't enough earth qi, he could still force a breakthrough. But if the foundation was unstable, it would be a hidden danger for breaking through to the basic level of foundation establishment. Jiang Tian still didn't do that. Jiang Tian, who had been cultivating for thousands of years and had rich experience, naturally wouldn't make such a mistake of seeking instant benefits. However, it's really time to go to the Immortal of Nine Swords' treasure. Jiang Tian said with a smile. "Master, are you leaving?" At the gate of the courtyard, a graceful figure flashed out. Tang Linglong looked at Jiang Tian with a face full of reluctance. Zhang Tian nodded and said with a loving smile, now that you have ascended to the position of the sect leader of Wudong, I have made a soul contract with several elders. They will be loyal and devoted. I am relieved that you are safe and sound. Tang Linglong hesitated for a moment and asked softly, Master, besides Master's wife, can there be any other woman in your heart? Why do you ask? Zhang Tian was surprised. Master, I want to know. Tang Linglong hugged Zhang Tian's hand and said coquettishly. She found that Zhang Tian's hand was more slender and fair than a girl's. No. Zhang Tian shook his head gently. Tang Linglong's heart sank and her face suddenly dimmed. Then she asked absent-mindedly, Master, is there no place for me in your heart? Of course there is. Zhang Tian gently pulled his hand away and said with a loving smile, I treat you like a daughter. When you are bullied, of course I will support you. How about it? Are you satisfied this time? I will even give Chen Onping, Master. Tang Linglong suppressed the grief and anger in her heart, but she still could not help but clench her fist and shout, Daughter? You actually treat me like a daughter. Can't I walk into your heart? Zhang Tian closed his eyes and shook his head slowly. When he opened his eyes again, there was a bit more coldness in his eyes. He looked solemn and said lightly, Linglong, you shouldn't talk to me like this. And you shouldn't say such words. Why can Huang linger? Answer me. Tang Linglong angrily questioned, her eyes red and her delicate body trembling. I owe her a life. Zhang Tian shook his head helplessly. Besides, she and I are like a teacher and a friend, like family. This kind of relationship is hard to define. You are still young, you don't understand. When you grow up, you will understand. You owe her a life, but I can also die for you. Tang Linglong begged with tears in her eyes. Master, didn't you see? If you didn't come on the day of the sect competition, I would have died. But when I was in danger, I didn't have a trace of regret or fear. I even yearned for it. Yes, I yearned to die for you. Crystal tears rolled down her beautiful face like a pear blossom in the rain. She said in a trembling voice, I think as long as I die for you, you will definitely remember me and think of me often. You will even give me a little love. Chapter 688. Long Earth. Zhang Tian frowned and scolded in a cold voice. What nonsense are you thinking? Master, I love you. I don't want to be your disciple, nor do I want to be your daughter. I want to be your woman. Tang Linglong stomped her feet and shouted angrily. Her hair was flying and her tears were flowing. Then she hugged Zhang Tian and begged. Master, since you can accept Huang Linger, why can't you accept me? I want to follow you, serve you, and take care of you for the rest of my life. Even if I'm just a maid. Nonsense. Zhang Tian glared at her and flung her away. Boom. Tang Linglong staggered back. Zhang Tian said expressionlessly, If you still want to see me, then put away this evil thought. If you can't do it, I won't recognize you as my disciple in the future. You and I will break up. Zhang Tian said coldly. Tang Linglong seemed to have been struck by lightning. Her face was as pale as paper. After trembling for a while, she froze on the spot. Why? She was like a mummy whose soul had been sucked out. Her eyes were dull and lifeless. She questioned, How can my love for you become an evil thought? She whined like a wounded animal. Every word was sad and desperate. Her voice was sorrowful. Am I so unbearable? Am I so unworthy of your attention? Or is it because of the existence of Zhao Xueqing and Huang Linger, so there is no place for me? Think whatever you want. A trace of pain flashed in Zhang Tian's eyes. But the next moment he flung his sleeves and turned around resolutely. In short, it's impossible between us. Don't force yourself. He strode toward Mount Wuxian. His movement technique was very fast. With a single step he covered hundreds of meters. After a few strides he disappeared from sight. Then he stepped into the sky and disappeared into the vast sea of clouds. Ah, old Zhang, you're like an old dog running away. Zhang Qianlei commented with a venomous tongue. He leaped onto his sword and followed. Old man, you're so bad. Zhang Tian scolded angrily. Are you laughing at me? You motherfucker, you're an old virgin who's been single for over 100 years. You're the old dog. Single old dog. Zhang Tian and Zhang Qianlei left for a long time. Tang Linglong slowly came back to her senses. Evil thoughts. How is it evil thoughts? She smiled sadly. Then her gaze gradually became firm as she said coldly, There's no such thing as first come, first served in love. I only know that I love you and I want you. In the eyes of Tang Linglong, nothing is impossible in this world. You don't want me to force it, but I'm going to force it. Jiang Tian and Zhang Qianlei only flew a few dozen kilometers before they switched to a car when they reached Shiyan City. Old Jiang, you're really charming. On the car to the airport, Zhang Qianlei was eating oranges bought by the roadside and smirked. Will you die if you don't gloat? Jiang Tian rolled his eyes at him. This might be one of the few gatherings that he would have with his childhood friends. He had to cherish it. Is this girl a fan of foreign things? Isn't it good to get married in Sidonie? Zhang Qianlei said indignantly. That's not the reason, Jiang Tian smiled and explained. I heard that there are staff members in Hong Kong to promote the Immortal Healing Village and review the information submitted by the tycoons. Jiang Lin has been working in Hong Kong recently. Besides, Qin Jinming is planning to enter Hong Kong's financial market and set up a branch company. He wants to use the wedding as an opportunity to shine. Therefore, Jiang Tian and Zhang Qianlei split up at the Hankow International Airport. Zhang Qianlei went to Russia and went to Sword Tomb Island first. Jiang Tian flew to Jinling to visit his father. After all, it was the Spring Festival of 2011 and Jiang Zhixing was quite lonely in Jinling. Jiang Tian was now a citizen of Sidonie, but he had always been close to Wuxia, so he had already applied for a Hong Kong passport. The mansion on Fulong Mountain was sold to Zhen Shuai at a discount. Zhen Shuai transformed the place into a health resort. In fact, the remaining spirit qi there was very little, but it was still very attractive to many rich and upper-class people. It had become the most famous health resort in East China. Jiang Zhixing was now living in the provincial family residence. Qing Yi and his son were in charge of protecting him, but Su Zhenlei and Su Ruoqing were also there secretly. Son, you've been gone for more than half a year. Let's have a good drink today. When he saw Jiang Tian, Jiang Zhixing was overjoyed. He had thought that he would spend the holiday alone, but he didn't expect his son to come back. He personally cooked for Jiang Tian. He often cultivated, so his complexion was very good. He was in high spirits and was about to enter the early stage of qi refinement. Dad, did anyone come here recently? Or did they encounter something strange? Jiang Tian scanned the surroundings with his divine sense and immediately found that there was a sinister and terrifying fiend qi in the surroundings. This fiend qi was very similar to the fiend qi Jiang Tian had encountered at the back of Wudong Mountain. Upon closer inspection, the layers of protective arrays that he had set up around Jiang Zhixing had already begun to crack. These cracks definitely wouldn't have formed naturally. Either a powerful external force had destroyed them, or the array had been damaged due to the operation of the array. It was quite strange one day. Jiang Zhixing muttered as he stir-fried. It was a sunny day, but the area where I live was covered with dark clouds and thunder. Tan Guangshu's old man even joked that I had done something bad and that lightning would strike me. That old man. It seems that the fiend body of purgatory was here. What is his background? We still have to investigate carefully. Jiang Tian furrowed his brows tightly and revealed a look of deep thought. He hurriedly repaired several layers of formations. Then he ran to the study, took out array materials and quickly drew a fiend suppression array around his father's residence. I have to give Dad a few more fiend suppression jade talismans later. After setting up all this, Jiang Tian stroked his chin, still worried. Son, dinner is ready. Jiang Zhixing called from the living room. Coming. Jiang Tian hurried to the dining room to eat with his father. How's Dad's cooking? After Jiang Tian took a bite, Jiang Zhixing asked with a smile. Jiang Tian curled his lips and said, Far worse than my mom. You brat. Jiang Zhixing glared at him with dissatisfaction. Then he sighed and said, That's right. When your mom was in Jinling, it was just the two of us in Qixia County. You ate my half-cooked rice every day. It must have been hard on you. But Dad, you've improved. At least it's cooked. Jiang Tian laughed. Brat, are you praising me or scolding me? Jiang Zhixing didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He raised his wine glass and clinked it with Jiang Tian's. He smiled and said, Cheers. Although he was a city hall official, Jiang Zhixing lived a simple life. He drank a green bottle of erguotu that cost more than 10 yuan a bottle. However, this was to Jiang Tian's liking. He wasn't particular about food and clothing. Sidonie is doing well. I've seen the news. Son, you're good. After drinking a few glasses of wine, Jiang Zhixing was in high spirits. He didn't put on airs as a father anymore. He patted Jiang Tian's shoulder and said, "Dad, strictly speaking, you're a naked official. Your wife and children are overseas. I don't think you have much of a future." Jiang Tian said with a smile. "The organization knows about my special situation. When your mom went to Sidoni, it was a wasteland. There was nothing there. It's the poorest and most backward country in the world. It's not like it's a developed country." Jiang Zhixing rolled his eyes at Jiang Tian and shook his head. "The organization trusts me a lot. My work hasn't been affected in any way. So I can't let the organization down." Jiang Tian took a sip of his wine and said, "Why don't you come to Sidoni? If you want to make a name for yourself, I can get you the position of vice president or minister of construction. If you want to live a comfortable life, you can stay in the Immortal Healing Village." Chapter 689. Jiang Tian, you don't understand my ideals. Jiang Zhixing's face turned solemn as he said seriously, "I was born in a difficult era. I experienced political turmoil, going to the mountains and the countryside and reforming and opening up. I know that it's not easy for our country to have its current development achievements. If it weren't for the good policies of the party and the country, I wouldn't have had the chance to study, and I wouldn't have known your mother. There wouldn't have been you, the Jiang family, or the Medicine King group. It can be said that I'm full of gratitude to the country and the people. I want to give everything I have to the motherland until I can't do it anymore. So I won't leave." Jiang Tian sighed in his heart. His father's generation had their persistence and ideals, which were worthy of respect. However, he still said unwillingly, "Dad, do you know that you're facing great danger now? I'll feel more at ease if you're by my side." "Don't force me." Jiang Zhixing waved his hand and refused. "Jiang Tian, Sidoni is your dream. It's my dream to contribute to the prosperity and development of Wuxia's economy and society. You can fight for Sidoni without caring about your own safety, and I can do the same for Wuxia. I know that you're not an ordinary person. Maybe one day you'll leave this world, but I will stay." Jiang Tian was shocked. He looked at his father in disbelief and said, "Don't you want to become an immortal, live forever, reach a higher level of life, see a wider universe and see more beautiful scenery? What you said is very good. It's all very good." Jiang Zhixing picked up the wine glass and drank it in one gulp. He smiled and said, "But in my opinion, the best scenery is by my side and the best place is at home. I'm willing to die here. I don't regret coming to Wuxia in this life, and I'm willing to stay at home in my next life." "Jiang Tian, I've been thinking about this for a long time and this is my final answer." Jiang Tian's hand holding the wine glass trembled slightly. The wine glass seemed to weigh more than 10,000 kilograms, and his expression was very ugly. His original plan was to take all his family members on the ancient path of the stars, and the family would never be separated. However, he didn't expect that before he even found the path, someone would already have a different idea from him. "Jiang Tian, we both have our own ideals. I respect your ideals and you have to respect mine." Seeing Jiang Tian's pale face, Jiang Zhixing couldn't help but sigh. "I knew that one day you would have to leave. I don't want you to be unprepared. That's why I'm telling you in advance." He lowered his head in shame and said, "Don't blame Dad. Dad doesn't want to drag you down, but no, Dad, don't be sad, don't blame yourself. I support you and admire you." After a brief pondering, Jiang Tian gradually figured it out and raised his cup with a smile. "Although I'm now a citizen of Sidoni, I've never forgotten that I'm a descendant of the Yellow Emperor. I grew up drinking the water of the Yangtze River." "Thank you, son." Jiang Tian finally felt relieved. He patted Jiang Tian on the shoulder, his eyes slightly red. After dinner, Jiang Tian washed the dishes. Jiang Zhixing called Jiang Tian to the study and said, "I don't have anything to give Qin Zhenming and Jiang Lin's wedding, so I wrote a piece of calligraphy. Forever United." Jiang Tian opened the scroll and took a look. He smiled and praised, "Dad, your handwriting is not bad. Facial muscles and willow bones, the style of a gentleman. They will definitely like it." "Really? Not bad, right?" Jiang Zhixing smiled proudly and said, "Remember to bring the gift. I'll work overtime tonight. You can sleep at home or go out to play with your friends. Zhen Shuai and the other brats have been talking about you." "Okay." Jiang Tian nodded. "Also, when you go to Hong Kong, you must pay the Wu family a visit. Suddenly, Jiang Zhixing's face turned serious. I heard that the Wu family is in decline now. If they need help, we have to lend them a helping hand. The Wu family in Hong Kong? We haven't seen each other for years. There's no need. Jiang Tian furrowed his brows and a strange look appeared on his face. The Wu family in Hong Kong was a medium-sized family. In his last life they were worth 1 to 200 million. Back then old man Jiang Chongqing had cured old man Wu of a strange disease. Old man Wu was very grateful and became Jiang Chongqing's sworn brother. When the Medicine King Group was founded, old man Wu had donated a few million yuan. A few million yuan was nothing in the modern era. However, it was a huge sum of money in the 90s. It was the first bucket of gold for the Medicine King Group, and it played a big role in the rise of the Medicine King Group. What was even more interesting was, when Jiang Tian and the Song and Lu families of Yanjin had a conflict, Jiang Tian had expelled Jiang Tian from Jin City. However, he was worried about Jiang Tian's safety and wanted to find a family to marry into. When the Jiang family was looking for a marriage partner for Jiang Tian, the first person they considered was not Zhao Xueqing, but Wu Zhiruo from the Wu family of Hong Kong. After all, it was difficult for the Song and Lu families to expand their influence in Hong Kong. Therefore, it was safer for Jiang Tian to marry into the Wu family. However, Wu Zhiruo was not interested in Jiang Tian at all. When the two of them met, she said, "I don't like a country bumpkin from the mainland." Then she sent Jiang Tianqi Tenli away. Even though many years had passed, Jiang Tian could still remember the disdainful look on Wu Zhiruo's face. Although Jiang Tian had been a cultivator for 10,000 years and had seen a lot of things, Jiang Tian still didn't want to talk to Wu Zhiruo. "Jiang Tian, let's not talk about the relationship between your grandpa and old man Wu. Your uncle Wu Buxiong and I have been in contact for years. He even came to Jin City a few days ago and wanted to invest in me." Jiang Zhixing said seriously. "I heard that Wu Buxiong is seriously ill and the Wu family is in decline. We can't ignore the rich and the poor. If we can help, we should help. Your grandpa wanted to treat him personally, but he is in Sidoni, which is too far away. Since you are going to Hong Kong, your grandpa wants you to take a look." He took out 2 business cards and handed them to Jiang Tian. "Jiang Tian, this is Wu Buxiong and Wu Zhiruo's contact information. Okay, I will pay Uncle Wu Buxiong a visit." Seeing this, Jiang Tian hurriedly took the name card and agreed. Then he took out a few demon-suppressing jade talismans and said, "Dad, remember to take these with you." "Okay, I will. Take care." Jiang Zhixing took the talismans and looked into Jiang Tian's eyes, as if he wanted to imprint his son's face in his mind. Then he turned around and hurried out. After Jiang Zhi left, Jiang Tian sat quietly in the living room, not saying a word for a long time. That night Jiang Tian met up with Tan Guangxiu, Zhen Shuai and Qing Yi. The next day, Zhen Shuai chartered a flight and they took a Boeing 737 to Hong Kong. Zhen Shuai was now rich and overbearing. He wore a Patek Philippe watch and 3 huge gold rings. His hair was slicked back and his figure was slightly fat. He had the demeanor of a nouveau riche. Su Zhenlei, Tang Xiaozi, Bai Choufei and the others treated him as their brother. Now his business was booming everywhere and his net worth had reached a few hundred million in just 3 years. He also had 20% of the shares of the airline and was a board member. The VIP passengers were given priority to board the plane. The captain led the crew to greet them. The stewardesses were also carefully selected. Their bodies, appearances and manners were far better than the average stewardesses. They were kneeling the entire time. The air stewardesses knew Zhen Shuai's identity, so they tried to curry favor with him and were on point. "Sai, Qin Jinming is so lucky to have Jiang Lin. I am also very handsome, right? Why didn't Jiang Lin like me?" On the plane, Zhen Shuai said with envy. "You are not handsome." Tan Guangxiu rolled his eyes at him. "How can you compare yourself to Qin Jinming? He is a Wall Street elite and you are just a tycoon." Tan Guangxiu was doing well. After Jiang Zhixing was transferred to the Secretary of Jin City, Tan Guangxiu stayed at the Jiangsu Investment Group. He was the Minister of Human Resources and was already a deputy director before the age of 30. "It's not that bad, okay?" Zhen Shuai shook his head and said. "I have a Hong Kong ID card and passport, so I am now a citizen of Hong Kong. I want this stewardess to serve me." Suddenly Zhen Shuai pointed at a tall stewardess and said. Under everyone's envious gaze, the stewardess was smug. She suppressed her desire to show off and walked to Zhen Shuai. The other stewardesses were envious. They wondered how lucky this girl was to be chosen by the company's independent director. When the stewardess went to get the wine, Qingyi turned around and asked, "Xianxia, you like her? She is just average looking. Long legs. Don't you know that?" Xianxia rolled his eyes. Qingyi glared at him and whispered, "Don't go overboard, Jiang Tian is here." "I know. I'll leave my contact details later. We'll talk about it when we get off the plane." Xianxia chuckled. On the way, Jiang Tian chatted and drank all the red wine in the first-class cabin. Xianxia also drank a little too much. In the end, he couldn't hold back and had sex with the stewardess in the bathroom. When a man gets to the top, all his friends and family will follow him. Qingyi smiled but didn't say a word. However, he couldn't calm down for a long time. Wuxia had strict control over the internet and all kinds of news were strictly guarded. What Jiang Tian did in France wasn't spread in the country. There was no news on the internet. Only people like Lu Jinghua and Song Beishan knew about it through their own channels. Ordinary people didn't know about it, but Qingyi, as an outer disciple of the Taiqing sect, naturally knew about it. It could be said that Tan Guangxiu and Zhen Shuai's achievements today were all brought about by Jiang Tian. Moreover, from the beginning to the end, Jiang Tian didn't say a word and didn't greet anyone. But in Jinling's political and business circles, who dared not to give face to Master Kong? But Jiang Tian was like a god above the 9 heavens. It wasn't easy to curry favor with him. They could only start with the people around Jiang Tian and give Tan Guangxiu and Zhen Shuai a lot of benefits. Seeing that their lives had changed, Jiang Tian also showed a gratified smile. Jiang Tian had a good relationship with these childhood friends, but their roots were too weak. Jiang Tian couldn't bring them to the cultivation world. However, it was not bad for them to be able to live a prosperous life on Earth and live out their lives in peace and safety. Chapter 690. Asia Satellite TV was the earliest Chinese radio station in Hong Kong. In the 80s, it was the dominant channel in Hong Kong and made another TV station, TVB, pale in comparison. However, the tables had turned. Now, Asia Satellite TV had become a laggard due to the internal strife among its shareholders. On the other hand, TVB was thriving. The tiger was sick and it was the best time to hunt it down. At the same time, the unstable ATV had attracted the attention of many hunters and Bai Choufei was one of them. Bai Choufei's Tiange Entertainment had developed rapidly in recent years and had cooperated with South Korean film companies to produce several Sino-Korean co-productions. Not only had he made Li Huiyan famous, but the company's income had also risen and it had become one of the top film and entertainment companies in China. Bai Choufei had invested in the acquisition of Asia Satellite TV and Zhang Huchen had supported him. In fact, there was no need for Jiang Tian to remind him. In the Heavenly Alliance, many business and political factors had merged and become a powerful force. Zhang Huchen and Bai Choufei met at a Heavenly Alliance gathering. Because they were both in the entertainment industry, they hit it off immediately. The two of them had worked together many times and had gained a lot. Bai Choufei was optimistic about Asia Satellite TV's production ability, equipment, copyright and management team. Sidonie was a hot land with great potential. Now that the economy was developing rapidly, the people's cultural consumption was also rising. After Bai Choufei bought Asia Satellite TV, he set up a national TV station in Sidonie. Bai Choufei's assets were tens of billions of Wuxia dollars, but compared to the top tycoons in Hong Kong, there was still a gap. However, with Zhang Huchen's support, he had an advantage. But with Zhang Huchen's help, the 3 shareholders of ATV were dealt with one by one. Although Jiang Tian had left Wuxia, his influence was growing. In the international community, Sidonie was now one of Wuxia's most important allies. For Jiang Tian's sake, Zhang Zhongguo was the leader of Yanjin, and Zhang Qingzhen and Zhang Qingji had developed and improved. After the Lu and Song families were suppressed, the Zhang family's status rose and they were now one of the top 10 wealthy families in the world. Merchants from the mainland had their roots in the mainland. Everyone knew that behind the Zhang family stood a great god who had defeated the Lu and Song families. Even a red-headed merchant with the CPPCC above his head had to give face to Zhang Huchen. If Bai Choufei and Zhang Huchen could settle ATV's largest shareholder, the Kai family from Macau, the acquisition of ATV would become possible. However, as the spokesperson of the Kai family in Hong Kong, the Kai family's second young master didn't seem to give Bai Choufei any face. That's true. The two of them were famous in China, But they couldn't intimidate the Kai family's second young master who could do whatever he wanted in Hong Kong, Macau and Taiwan. They calmly asked young Master Kai out 3 times, but he still stood them up. Coincidentally, it was Qin Jinming and Jiang Lin's wedding. Both of them came over to congratulate and send gifts. They patiently made an appointment with the second young master of the Kai family for the 4th time. The meeting place was a business club in Central. Bai Choufei Zhang Huchen Zhang Yilan. In addition, Bai Choufei also brought Li Huiyan, who had just participated in the Spring Festival Gala, and 2 newly promoted female stars. It wasn't that Bai Choufei wanted to use a honey trap. It was that Li Huiyan heard that Jiang Tian might be attending Jiang Lin's wedding and would arrive in Hong Kong today, so she insisted on coming over and waiting to welcome Jiang Tian together. In front of the luxurious floor-to-ceiling window of the club, Bai Choufei held a red wine glass and looked down at the bustling streets of Central, feeling the commercial atmosphere far beyond that of Yangcheng in the mainland. First sister, is our boss going to meet such an awesome person like Li Zhikai tonight? Among the 3 stars, Tang Yuyu, the youngest female star who became popular because of an idol drama, looked at the handsome and tall Bai Choufei obsessively and asked Li Huiyan in a low voice. Li Huiyan shook her head and said lightly, "I don't know." Now she had already seen the universe. She had seen the South Korean president bow his head with Jiang Tian, and she and Li Jinju were close friends in the circle. Li Zhikai, the son of Superman Li, was one of the top young masters in Hong Kong. In the eyes of ordinary people he was like a noble descendant, but in her eyes, he was just so. Zhang Huchen crossed his legs and leaned lazily on the leather sofa. He said angrily, "Kai is arrogant and domineering. If it was before, I would have killed him with 1 slap. How dare he put on airs in front of me?" Now he was in Yanjin and his status and influence was comparable to Lu Lishuan's in the past. Many young masters of famous families were around him. He is the nephew of the gambling king of Macau. He Hongqian, of course he thinks highly of himself. Bai Choufei reminded gently. Bai Choufei used to be arrogant, but after following Jiang Tian he realized how vast the world was. He was no longer a frog at the bottom of the well. Instead he was more mature, gentle and cautious. It's just a bunch of mobs," Zhang Huchen said disdainfully. "He better talk to us obediently today, otherwise I will slap him. Now that your father is the 3rd in command of the National Security Agency, you don't know how many people are watching your every word and action. Be careful," Zhang Yilan warned. Tang Yuyu and Zhao Chenzi, another female star with a mature and charming style, suddenly stared at Zhang Huchen with great admiration. Turned out that Zhang Xiao had such a big background. The National Security Agency was not a small department. It was extremely sensitive. "Do you think the Kai family is a good thing? Their foundations are dirty." Zhang Huchen snorted coldly. "He'd better not provoke me today. Otherwise I won't say get rid of He Hongqian, but at least get rid of the power of the Kai family. Business is business. Don't use your father's privilege," Zhang Yilan said coquettishly. "If you spread it to Jiang Tian's ears he will skin you alive." "Yilan, don't talk nonsense. I didn't do anything. Aren't I just complaining?" Hearing the name of Jiang Tian, Zhang Huchen's face suddenly turned pale with fright. Like a deflated ball he waved his hand and said. Tang Yuyu and Zhao Chenzi were stunned again, and great curiosity surged in their hearts. Tang Yuyu asked in a low voice, "First sister, who is Jiang Tian? Is Zhang Daxiao scared like this?" "Haha, that's a godlike man." Li Huiyan smiled mysteriously, full of fascination. Suddenly the door of the box was pushed open. A young man in a colorful shirt with pride written all over his face, accompanied by 2 middle-aged men in suits and leather shoes, walked into the box arrogantly. "Young Master Kai, nice to meet you." Bai Choufei came forward with red wine and took the initiative to shake hands. Although Zhang Huchen looked down on this guy, he also got up according to business etiquette and said with a smile, "Young Master Kai, it's not easy to see you." But the second young master of the Kai family turned a blind eye to them. Instead he turned his head and stared at the 4 girls present, as if he were going to the store to choose pheasants. He looked back and forth, his eyes were wretched and he smiled evilly. Zhang Xiao, young master Bai, if I knew you were going to send me women, how could I wait until now?" Kai Xiaofei smiled strangely as he stared greedily at the charming Li Huiyan. He then walked into the room. Zhang Huchen heard the words, frowned fiercely and his face was unhappy. The Zhang family had Jiang Tian's protection, so they didn't need to send women to him. Young Master Kai, that's a bit too much. Bai Choufei's face also stiffened and then he forced a smile. Li Huiyan was Jiang Tian's old classmate. She was the most popular girl in the company and even he had to treat her like a bodhisattva. This kid was too arrogant. The host and the guests sat down and chatted while eating. Young Master Kai tried his best to show off, and his pair of triangular eyes sized up the four girls' beautiful breasts and legs. Young Master Kai swirled the wine in his glass elegantly and said proudly, "Young Master Bai, Young Master Zhang, I don't think there is such a luxurious club in China. Did you notice the huge difference between the mainland and Hong Kong after your visit to Hong Kong? You call this a club?" Zhang Huchen wanted to laugh. He didn't need to look at the people, just the skyscrapers in Hong Kong already told him how crowded the place was. The actual population density was 3 times higher than that of Yanjin and Zhonghai. In such a small place, it was impossible to expect the palaces, quiet courtyards and small bridges to flow like in Beijing. Most of the so-called mansions in Hong Kong were 3 bedrooms in a 100 square meters apartment in a prime location. Even so, Kai Xiaofei, who didn't know the development of China, still looked at Zhang Huchen and Bai Choufei as if they were country bumpkins. He talked about the prosperity of Hong Kong and Macau, bragging about his luxurious life and despising the backwardness of China. Bai Choufei wanted to buy the ATV peacefully, so he tried to control his emotions and nodded with a smile. Zhang Huchen wanted to beat him up a few times. But when he thought about how Jiang Tian would come later and if he were to fight he might be punished by Jiang Tian again. Thus he sneered and drank his wine. "I heard that the public toilets in China are all dry toilets without toilets or sewers. Is that true?" When Kai Xiaofei said this, Bai Choufei almost collapsed and Zhang Huchen almost flipped the table. People in Hong Kong were jokingly called Hong Kong farmers and Hong Kong cowards when they went to China. But what was ridiculous was that Kai Xiaofei's understanding of China was still in the 50s and 60s. What an idiot. Famous clans produce ambitious and ruthless people, but they also produce trash. Bai Choufei suddenly felt that he was asking for a meeting with this guy again and again. What was there to talk about with this kind of trash? Bai Choufei shook his head and drank the wine in the cup. He put the wine cup on the table and said coldly, "Young Master Kai, if you think the time is not ripe for our cooperation, then I won't disturb you. I still have something to do. Let's talk again when we have the chance." Bai Choufei didn't wait for his reaction. He stood up and left. Zhang Huchen pointed at him and said disdainfully, "He can't even pay your salary. Why are you still pretending to be a big shot?" The 4 girls who couldn't stand Kai Xiaofei's disgusting eyes quickly got up and followed him. Kai Xiaofei was slightly stunned. He didn't learn how to be a shrewd person from his parents, so his face immediately turned red. Anger and dissatisfaction were written all over his face as he said coldly, "Young Master Bai, Young Master Zhang, aren't you in too much of a hurry? Fine, you can leave first if you have something urgent to do, but let Miss Li Huiyan stay and have a meal with me. We still have a chance to talk about our cooperation. Young Master Kai wants to sleep with me." Li Huiyan stopped in her tracks and sneered, her face full of disdain. She had been in the entertainment circle for a long time, and she knew that there were all kinds of filthy things under the glamorous clothes of this circle. But ever since Bai Choufei knew about her relationship with Jiang Tian, he had never let her suffer any grievances. Whether it was in China, Hong Kong, South Korea or Japan, no one dared to disrespect her. "Ha, Miss Li, you are very clear-minded." Kai Xiaofei excitedly slapped his thigh and laughed. Zhang Huchen and Bai Choufei's face darkened. It seemed that this kid was courting death. Chapter 691. But Kai Xiaofei still didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He laughed wildly and said, "I'm good friends with Boss Yang from Emperor Entertainment and Boss Yang Qiangxing from Huaxing. As long as you follow me, I guarantee that you will be able to do well in Hong Kong, Macau and Taiwan. What do you think?" "What if I don't?" Li Huiyan asked. Kai Xiaofei's face darkened and said coldly, "That's simple. I promise you won't be able to get another movie in Hong Kong, Macau and Taiwan. At least in these 3 places I will shut you out completely." "Then shut me out," Li Huiyan said mockingly. "There are only a few cinemas and screens in Hong Kong. Even if you don't watch me, there are still many people watching me in China and abroad." Kai Xiaofei was stunned. His eyes were full of killing intent. He looked at Bai Choufei and Zhang Huchen and said, "Is this also your idea?" No, how could this be my idea?" Huiyan, you are too insensible. Hearing Bai Choufei's words, Kai Xiaofei's eyes were full of disdain and he sneered arrogantly. A bunch of Chinese bumpkins, what are you pretending for? In the end you still have to bow your head and admit your mistake. You gave me a woman to sleep with. Bai Choufei stared at Kai Xiaofei and suddenly said, Kai Xiaofei, you got it wrong. The film industry in Hong Kong is declining. You want to enter the Chinese film industry, so the directors and actors are all moving north. If you continue to be so arrogant, I will shut you out. Fuck you. How dare you talk to me like that? Kai Xiaofei's temper exploded and he said angrily, if you don't kneel down and apologize to me, don't even think about leaving Hong Kong alive. Chinese bumpkins. Zhang Huchen was so angry that his hands trembled. He turned around and asked Zhang Yilin, Yilin, if I hit him in this situation, will God Jiang blame me for punishing me? Go ahead. If you hit him, it will be on my head. You are such a bully. Zhang Yilin was also angry. You said it. Remember it. Don't turn around and refuse to help Jiang Tian when he's messing with me. Zhang Huchen repeated worriedly. Zhang Yilin nodded. Zhang Huchen grinned maliciously as he approached Kai Xiaofei and said coldly, I don't care if you call me a Chinese bumpkin or not. What did you say? Seeing Zhang Huchen approaching, Kai Xiaofei subconsciously stood up and asked. Young Master Zhang, calm down. The two middle-aged men sensed a sense of crisis and hurriedly stepped forward to stop and persuade him. Zhang Huchen shook off the two middle-aged men and picked up a red wine bottle. Without saying a word, he smashed it on Kai Xiaofei's head. Kai Xiaofei was slapped to the ground and he cried out in pain. His face was filled with fear and astonishment. He probably didn't expect a mainland tycoon to be so valiant. The two middle-aged men who wanted to stop Zhang Huchen were knocked to the ground with a kick and a punch. Zhang Huchen grabbed onto Kai Xiaofei's neck and fiercely asked, Fuck your mother. Speak. Who is going to apologize? Who knelt? Who's the country bumpkin? I apologize, I kneel, I'm a country bumpkin. Kai Xiaofei's face turned purple. He felt like he was going to suffocate and die in the next moment. He screamed at the top of his lungs. Fuck you. Only then did Zhang Huchen get up and kick Kai Xiaofei in the stomach. He scolded resentfully. He angrily said, Prepare the contract and sell it to me at 20% of the original price. Otherwise I'll kill you. After Bai Choufei and Zhang Huchen left, Kai Xiaofei stood up, bent over and coughed violently for a while before he recovered and shouted, They dare to hit me, damn it, I'll kill them. Young Master Kai, this mainland young Master Zhang is not simple. He is a top existence in Yanjing. His grandfather Zhang Jinghua was a member of the Central Advisory Committee. Crown Prince. A person who accompanied Kai Xiaofei kindly reminded him, but Kai Xiaofei impatiently interrupted him and waved his hand domineeringly. Yanjing, a city full of bicycles. There are also hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Central Advisory Committee? What the hell is that? Bullshit, Crown Prince. It's okay to scare ordinary people, but every time my uncle He Hongchen went to Yanjing, when wasn't he personally received by the chief? The two mature elite businessmen helplessly looked at each other and shook their heads with a bitter smile. The reason why the Kai family of Macau used the merger of ATV to drive Kai Xiaofei to Hong Kong was because they didn't want to see him. However, the two generals Hing and Ha had to suffer. They didn't have enough to wipe his ass. They could only silently pray that today's unpleasant events would pass quickly and that Kai Xiaofei wouldn't take it to heart. Bai Choufei, Zhang Huchen and Zhang Yilin walked out of the door and went to the parking lot. Li Huiyan smiled sweetly and said, Mr. Bai, young Master Zhang, thank you for just now. Don't thank me. Bai Choufei turned his head and said with a smile, You are young Master Zhang's old classmate. He asked me to take care of you. Something happens to you, how can I explain it to young Master Jiang? In fact, he was also very grateful to Jiang Tian. Now Li Huiyan was popular all over Wuxia and East Asia, becoming the most important cash cow of Tiange Entertainment. It wasn't as simple as Li Huiyan having Jiang Tian as her backer and the company being willing to support her. The entertainment circle had the largest number and highest quality of beautiful women. There were many beautiful women who had backgrounds and backers or relied on their thick skin to drag big directors and investors into the water. But why were there so few of them who were popular? In fact, they needed talent. Li Huiyan undoubtedly also had this talent. How could a golden unicorn be a fish in a pond and turn into a dragon in a storm? Jiang Tian just gave her an opportunity and a platform. Zhang Huchen said with a bitter face. In any case, don't tell God Jiang that I hit people. I regret it now. Li Huiyan nodded, and a strange and familiar handsome face appeared in her mind. For a moment her heart throbbed inexplicably. At this time Bai Choufei's cell phone rang. It was Sasaki Haisha. Jiang Tian was about to arrive at Hong Kong International Airport and asked him to meet him at once. Let's go. God Jiang is here. Bai Choufei's eyes were excited. Bai Choufei didn't dare to put on airs in front of Li Huiyan at all. He very gentlemanly asked the three girls to sit in the Buick van. Then he got on a Rolls-Royce Phantom with Zhang Huchen and Zhang Yilan. The two cars, one in front and one behind, drove to Hong Kong International Airport together. This Buick van was mediocre on the outside but luxurious on the inside. Behind the driver's seat, the space was spacious and 2 rows of airline seats faced each other. Tang Yuyu, the youngest girl who seemed to be pure, sat side by side with Li Huiyan. Zhao Chenzi, a mature and charming woman who had played in several major heroines in a row, sat opposite them. First sister, who is the young master Jiang that the boss mentioned? The little girl Tang Yuyu asked curiously. Zhao Chenzi, who was sitting opposite, had just opened a magazine. Hearing the words, she raised her eyebrows quickly and smiled sweetly. Yes, Huiyan, tell us. The company said that you have a strong backer. The 3 of us are not outsiders. You can reveal some information to satisfy our curiosity. What kind of backer stood behind Li Huiyan was the most taboo topic in Tiange entertainment. The 2 female stars were very curious about what kind of surging power made Li Huiyan, who was unknown a few years ago, rise at the speed of a rocket in just 2 or 3 years and be promoted to a first-tier star in Asia. Moreover, not long ago, she also received a big production contract from Hollywood to play opposite Tom Cruise and other international superstars. Which of the big and small celebrities in the country didn't have a backer or background? There was a popular saying in the film and television circle that behind a female star, there were often 3 or 4 successful fathers or godfathers. But whose backer could be so powerful and terrifying? I'm afraid Li Huiyan was the only one in the country. Li Huiyan smiled. Thinking of the past, the smile gradually became bitter. Finally, she sighed and said quietly, how can I be qualified to let him be my backer? To be honest, I don't even have the right to talk to him. I haven't seen him for a long time. Our boss values him and needs to rely on him. He thinks that helping me can make him happy, but maybe in his eyes, I'm no different from the beggars on the roadside. Li Huiyan finished and looked out of the window. Her eyes were drifting, not like looking at the street scene at all. There was probably some regret in her heart. First sister, don't be so deep. Tang Yuyu said with curiosity and expectation. Just tell us who young Master Jiang is and what's his background? Our boss flatters him, so he must be better than our boss, right? He is my high school alumnus and now he has gone abroad to develop. Li Huiyan said vaguely. Jiang Tian's ident. 1. Tai is too complicated. She can't figure it out herself, so she can only say it euphemistically. Tang Yuyu is more and more at a loss, but Zhao Chenzi makes a lot of inferences from the short information and asks suspiciously, is Jiang Xiao of the Medicine King group? Li Huiyan nodded. Zhao Chenzi blinked her big eyes with beautiful contact lenses, slapped Li Huiyan's silk stockings legs hard enough to seduce men to commit crimes, and said with resentment, Huiyan, it's not that my sister says you, but you're stupid. With this relationship, why don't you grasp it in your hand? He's married, and he has a good relationship with his wife. How can I pry it? Besides, I'm afraid that if I show that kind of idea, I won't even be able to keep the most basic classmate friendship. Li Huiyan didn't laugh at her senior sister's superficial utility. Instead, she had a sense of bleakness and melancholy. Introduce it to us. You just can't do it. If you don't want to pry, I'll do it. In modern society, how can there be a cat that doesn't eat fish? Li Huiyan's senior and junior sisters were very excited. Li Huiyan's face was stunned and speechless. This is the bizarre Vanity Fair. In the entertainment circle, no one will let go of the slightest chance. Chapter 692. When they got off the plane, the sun was shining brightly in Hong Kong. Ching Yi looked out of the window and sneered. This place is too small, isn't it? Why do you care so much about their ID cards? Of course I do. Tan Guangxiu explained. Some of the provinces and cities in China still give Hong Kong citizens preferential treatment, such as tax, land use, etc. That's right. Zhen Shuai said smugly. My company is going to expand across the country. We have to be prepared. That's because they are spoiled. What preferential treatment? Money is still money. Qingyi didn't think much of it. Jiang Tian walked through the VIP lane and was surrounded by a large entourage. In Hong Kong, Qin Jinming, Jiang Lin, Bai Choufei, and Jiang Chao drove a Rolls-Royce Phantom, a silver Bentley and a Lincoln limousine to pick them up. Qin Jinming, your legs are weak. Sister Jiang Lin, that's a bit too much. Zhen Shuai, look at how fat you are now. Congratulations, you adulterous couple. You finally succeeded. The group of people immediately bumped into each other. Since childhood friends met, there was no sense of distance between them, so it was inevitable for them to chat and laugh. Jiang Tian, I have something urgent to report to you. Suddenly, Jiang Lin's eyes flashed with a hint of melancholy. Let's talk in the car. Jiang Tian walked toward the Lincoln limousine. Bai Choufei hurried forward and opened the car door for Jiang Tian. After Jiang Tian, Jiang Lin, Jiang Chao and Qin Jinming got into the car, he closed the door from the outside. What is it? Jiang Tian asked. Jiang Tian, the promotion of the Village of Immortals in Hong Kong has run into some trouble. Jiang Lin said with a wry smile. You can't accept it? Jiang Tian shook his head. In fact, he didn't really care about it. 80% of the houses had already been rented out. If Hong Kong couldn't accept it, there were other markets. No, the promotion of the Village of Immortals is going well. It is very popular among the tycoons in Hong Kong. Many tycoons have shown great interest in the village and have sold over 100 houses. But someone is trying to defame the Medicine King Group and the Village of Immortals. Jiang Lin explained. In Hong Kong, Asia TV, First Media and more than a dozen other media outlets have been smearing Yao Wang Group's reputation ever since the Xing Yuan Immortal Treatment Village was introduced to the market. They reported that the reason why the Medicine King Group was delisted was due to poor management and insolvency. They also said that the Jiang family had offended the bigwigs in the capital and that the business environment in the mainland had deteriorated. As for the Village of Immortals, it's been banned by the Hong Kong media. We can't even advertise. There are also people lobbying the upper class, saying that our promotion is fake, that the healing village is ineffective, and that Sidoni's real estate and economy are fake prosperity, and that it will collapse sooner or later. This should be premeditated by an organization, right? Jiang Tian smiled. Jiang Tian, you're right. Qin Jinming took out 2 bottles of Evian mineral water from the wine cabinet in the car. He unscrewed one bottle and handed it to Jiang Tian. Jiang Lin and I have conducted a brief investigation. Our real opponent is the Shao Shikuan family, the second most powerful family in Hong Kong. I have heard of this family before. Jiang Tian smirked. Among the 4 most powerful families in Hong Kong, the Shao Shikuan family was second only to Superman Li's family. In terms of real estate, they were even more powerful than Superman Li's family. On the surface, the Shao Shikuan family's assets had reached 90 billion Hong Kong dollars. However, he still had a lot of unlisted assets, which was estimated to be around 200 billion Hong Kong dollars. Shao Shikuan was very talented and was known as the god of business in Hong Kong. He started off as a sugar water vendor on Temple Street and built a super business empire. Under his name were Wanguo Real Estate, Jin Long Jewelry, Xing Long Hotel Group, E-Media Group, Apple Daily and many others. Other than that, he was once awarded the Bauhinia knighthood by the British royal family. He was also a prominent figure in the international upper class. In the eyes of the average person, Shao Shikuan was like a god. Now Jiang Tian was known as the Jiang Laigua. He was so powerful that he could wipe out an entire country. Those that he interacted with were the European Union's president, Yong, Japan's prime minister, Singapore's prime minister, Marshall and many others. Shao Shikuan was just a small fry that he could kill easily. Why would he care about him? But it's strange. Why is the Shao family against us? Jiang Tian asked with a frown. Isn't it because of competition? Jiang Lin said. Shao Shikuan's family is very radical. Even during the global financial crisis in 2009, they still bought lots of land and developed a lot of high-end mansions. They bought lots of land and high-end old mansions in Taiping Mountain, Repulse Bay, Shinshui Bay and many other places. There are many overseas as well. Qin Jinming added. For example, Bali, Jeju Island, Hawaii and San Francisco. They have a lot of high-end mansions. Jiang Tian nodded slightly. They predicted that after 2 to 3 years, the impact of the financial crisis would subside and the economy would recover. The price of high-end mansions would definitely skyrocket. Jiang Lin said with disdain. In fact, they guessed correctly. At the end of 2010, the price of high-end mansions started to increase. However, they didn't expect the Immortal healing village to appear out of nowhere. The Xiao family's mansions should be priced between tens of millions to 100 million, which coincides with our Xingyuan Immortal healing village. That's why they're competing with each other. But they're no match for us. None of the projects in South Korea and the US were sold. We snatched them all. Now they have a lot of debt and their cash flow is about to collapse. If they can't hold on to the Hong Kong market, they'll be finished. So, they're desperate and started to slander us in the media? Jiang Tian laughed. That's right. Qin Jinming nodded. Jiang Chao, who had been listening quietly, raised his eyebrows and said fiercely, "This old bastard dares to slander us. This old fellow dares to splash dirty water on us. I think he must be tired of living. How about I call a few people to kill him?" He was the person in charge of the Immortal Healing Village's Hong Kong market. Now the market was not expanding and he had played a good hand. He was furious. "Can you stop stirring up trouble in Hong Kong?" Jiang Tian rolled his eyes at him and said, "Hong Kong is Wuxia's special region. It's not easy for Hong Kong to achieve peace and unity. Wuxia has been helping Sidonia a lot. Let's not create trouble for the country. The Immortal Healing Village is not worried about the sales. Why does he have to target us? Let him slander us if he wants. Smart people don't believe in rumors." Brother Tian, that's it? There was no need to mention how disappointed Jiang Chao was. He had posted a message on his WeChat Moments. He had said that Xiao Shikuan's family would be terrified when his brother arrived. He did not expect Jiang Tian to ignore them. "All right, Jiang Chao. Since Jiang Tian said so, don't bother him anymore," Qin Jinming said with a smile. "Yes, brother-in-law." Jiang Chao nodded. "Oh yes, Jiang Lin. My dad can't come in person, but he asked me to bring you a wedding gift." Jiang Tian took out the calligraphy and said with a smile. Qin Jinming took the gift with both hands and placed it carefully on the table. He opened it slowly and said, "Uncle Jiang is so busy but he still cares about our wedding. This gift is precious. I have to take good care of it." He promised Jiang Tian, "Jiang Tian, help me pass a message to the old man, Uncle Jiang and Auntie Jiang, that I will treat Jiang Lin well. I will not let her down for the rest of my life." He knew that Jiang Tian was the family lord of the Jiang family. Showing his loyalty to Jiang Tian was the same as showing his loyalty to the Jiang family. He knew better than anyone that marrying Jiang Lin was a blessing that he had accumulated over several lifetimes. His personal wealth was nothing compared to that of the Jiang family, and he was not even close to Jiang Lin's. Hearing this, Jiang Lin blushed and said, "Look at your silly face. You've already said what you wanted to say at the wedding." Jiang Tian was touched. He laughed heartily and said, "That's right. Jinming, we grew up together. Don't you think I know what kind of person you are? I believe that Jiang Lin will have a happy family with you." Suddenly, Jiang Tian's cell phone rang. It was Wu Zhihua from the Wu family. Wu Zhihua said that she had arrived at the airport and was waiting for Jiang Tian at Starbucks. Jiang Tian said that he would be there soon. He hung up the phone and smiled at Qin Jinming and the others. "Thank you for coming to pick me up, but I have other plans. You can go back to the hotel first. Just focus on the wedding. Don't worry about the house. It's just a few billion. We don't need that much money anyway." As he spoke, he got out of the car and walked towards Starbucks alone. Why did young Master Jiang leave? Li Huiyan's face was full of resentment and regret. She had finally met Jiang Tian, but before she could say hello, Jiang Tian had already left. In the airport Starbucks, the two girls were quite eye-catching. In the crowded cafe they were like cranes in a flock of chickens. The slightly older one wore a well-tailored silver-gray office dress. Her long, slender legs were wrapped in silky stockings, and she wore the latest black Gucci high heels. She had a delicate oval face and fair skin. A pair of black-rimmed glasses rested on the bridge of her nose. Her shoulder-length hair was dyed into fashionable wavy curls. She was tall and had a cool temperament. She was dressed like a mature woman in the workplace. The other girl was wearing limited edition canvas shoes. Her pink legs were exposed under her hot pants. She looked cute with a big-mouthed monkey sweater. Sister Zhou, why is this Chinese idiot so arrogant? The cute girl sipped her juice and shook her head. It's a few hours later than the scheduled time. You and young Master Guo's negotiation was delayed. My grandpa's friend's grandson. Wu Zhiruo folded a copy of Apple Daily and threw it aside. Her face was full of disdain. In the newspaper there was a full-page report in the financial section. The title with 3 exclamation marks was shocking to the eye. The Fallen Medical Empire. Medicine King Group. Wu Zhiruo took a sip of her cappuccino. She sighed and shook her head helplessly. Actually, we haven't seen each other for so many years. I don't know why my dad still wants me to meet this poor guy. Chapter 693. In her opinion, Jiang Tian had nothing to do with her. She didn't understand why her father wanted her to pick him up. Not only did he make her wait for 3 hours, but he also delayed a big deal. More importantly, her father had been talking about her blind date with Jiang Tian recently. He sounded regretful, as if she had missed a good match. From what her father said, it was not a bad idea to be Jiang Tian's mistress. But what was the Jiang family doing now? Professional financial media said that the Medicine King Group had been delisted due to poor management. It was said that they were secretly in debt. Wu Zhiruo, who was always urged by her father to get married, was very unhappy. Her resistance to Jiang Tian soared and she was full of disgust. The sales contract that Xiao Yunhao gave you may have made tens of millions of profit. Sun Jiao said angrily. It doesn't matter if he is late, but we lost 20 or 30 million for nothing. It's so annoying. She ground her silver teeth and her face was full of anger. When he comes, I will scold him. Sister Zhiro. At this time, Jiang Tian also came in and greeted her with a smile. Jiang Tian. You're here. Wu Zhiruo was a little surprised when she saw Jiang Tian. His appearance was very delicate and he was much more handsome and steady than before. However, Jiang Tian's outfit was too strange. He was wearing a buttoned long coat, bloomers and old cloth shoes. He looked like an old man. What she didn't know was that Jiang Tian's clothes were custom-made by Wuxia, the top silk brand in Wuxia. This brand served the royal family in the Qing dynasty. Jiang Tian's clothes were worth at least 700,000 or 800,000, which was far more expensive than the luxury goods in Paris Fashion Week. I heard that Jiang Tian's father is now a city hall official. However, the Medicine King Group was suddenly delisted. According to the media, it was not doing well. Wu Zhiruo shook her head. He looks so lethargic. Not to mention Xiao Yunhao, Li Zhikai and the other top young masters, he's a far cry from Luo Ziho. The Luo family was the owner of Glory Hotel in Hong Kong. Luo Ziho had already taken over the hotel and was in charge of 500 to 600 million yuan. Although he was only a 3rd or 4th tier young master, he was in the hotel industry and had a lot of connections. He could talk to people like Li Zhikai and Xiao Yunhao. He was one of the most influential young men in Hong Kong. His family background, appearance and ability were all top-notch. He was also one of Wu Zhiruo's admirers. Wu Zhiruo also had a good impression of him. In the eyes of the outside world, they were almost a couple. Sister Zhiruo, the person you're waiting for is him. I haven't seen you for a few years, but you haven't improved at all. Sun Jiao looked at Jiang Tian with disdain. When Jiang Tian and Wu Zhiruo were on a blind date, as Wu Zhiruo's best friend, Sun Jiao had seen Jiang Tian. At that time, Jiang Tian was timid and silly. He had never even seen Disneyland. He was so stupid that he seemed to have come from the mountains. Sun Jiao had thought that Wu Zhiruo was willing to sacrifice a contract worth tens of millions because she was waiting for some big shot. Who would have thought that it was actually Jiang Tian? This was too much of a scam. Sister Zhiruo, I heard that Uncle Wu is seriously ill. My dad asked me to come and take a look. Let's go. Jiang Tian ignored Sun Jiao. He looked at Wu Zhiruo and said with a faint smile. When Jiang Tian first saw Wu Zhiruo, he was stunned. At that time, there was still a big gap between the economic development of China and Hong Kong. Jiang Tian came from a small place like Qixia County. When he saw a beautiful and fashionable girl born in a big city like Hong Kong, coupled with Wu Buxiong's enthusiastic matchmaking, of course he was attracted to her. However, in Jiang Tian's eyes, Wu Zhiruo had lost her charm. Not to mention Qing'e, even his disciples Xin Mange, Li Jinju and Sasaki Haisha were a far cry from her. How could Jiang Tian's heart waver in the slightest? In the past, Jiang Tian begged and fawned over her in every possible way. Now his eyes were clear and he was neither servile nor overbearing. Wu Zhihua was secretly surprised. It's a pity that your family background and ability are too poor. You're not even qualified to be my ordinary friend. Wu Zhihua sighed in her heart. She had already stood up and smiled politely. All right, I hope you can cure my father's illness. Although she said so, her heart was full of contempt. Her father's illness had been treated by the best doctors in Hong Kong and even the world, but they were all helpless. He was an ignorant and incompetent person. What could he do? At this time, Sun Jiaro said with dissatisfaction. Mr. Jiang, your economy in China is so backward. The people's concept of time is too poor. Do you know how much damage you've caused us by making us wait here for 3 hours? You really are too much. You only told us that you'll be here in the morning but didn't tell us the exact time. We've been waiting here since early morning. Do you know that Sister Zhihua originally had a big contract to discuss with young Master Xiao? Now it's gone. I'm sorry. Jiang Tian said apologetically. I chartered a plane here. I can take off at any time. The few friends who came with me were very unorganized. They didn't plan well. The departure and arrival times were uncertain, so I didn't give you a specific time. It's my fault. It was indeed inappropriate to make the 2 girls wait for so long. Jiang Tian also apologized politely. Chartered a plane. Sun Jiaro was slightly stunned. Then she laughed mockingly. I heard that your Medicine King group was delisted because of poor management. Your family's assets are probably only a few million now. You might even be in debt. She said sarcastically, you can charter a plane? You're too good at bragging. Why don't you say that you have a private plane? Jiang Tian touched his nose helplessly. He did have 2 private planes, a Gulfstream G550 and a Boeing 737. But Jiang Tian felt that there was no need to say it out loud. After all, he came here to repay a debt of gratitude and to treat Wu Buxiong's illness. He didn't come here to be angry. Besides, they might not believe him even if he said it out loud. They might think that he was deliberately trying to make them angry. Seeing that Jiang Tian didn't speak, Sun Jiaro thought that she had tactfully exposed Jiang Tian's true colors. Her expression became more arrogant and disdainful. She snorted. Don't brag. You're a country bumpkin here. You probably haven't even drunk Starbucks before. Xiao Rou. Wu Zhihua called. She probably felt that her best friend's words were too much, but she didn't stop her. Jiang Tian came here inexplicably. Maybe he still couldn't forget his old feelings for her and coveted her. Although Sun Jiaro was being rude, at least she let him understand her status and make him give up on her. While talking, the 3 of them walked out of Starbucks and came to the airport parking lot. Wu Zhihua's car was a red imported Mercedes-Benz. The 3 of them got into the car and drove to Hong Kong Baptist Hospital. Sister Zhihua, Mr. Xiao asked you to manage a high-end villa project, right? Sun Jiaro asked curiously. That's right. Wu Zhihua nodded. Mr. Xiao asked for you. He has good taste. Sun Jiaro said with admiration. Sister Zhihua's real estate marketing company should be the best in Hong Kong. Previously you worked with Superman Lee's real estate company. But Xiao Yunhao's conditions are a little harsh. Wu Zhihua frowned and said worriedly. All the marketing activities will be funded by the Wu family. The Xiao family won't pay a single cent. After all the units are sold, they will pay us 5% of the net profit as marketing expenses. I've calculated that the marketing expenses on a global scale will be around 100 million. This will be very stressful for the Wu family. You can't catch a wolf without risking your child. Sun Jiaro said nonchalantly. This is the first time we're working together. Xiao Yunhao might not be that confident in you. At this time, the 2 women began to discuss some business matters, basically treating Jiang Tian as heir. He knew the names of the rich and powerful in Hong Kong like the back of his hand. At this time, Jiang Tian suddenly asked, Sister Zhihua, are you going to manage Xiao Shikuan's high-end properties? That's right. Before Wu Zhihua could say anything, Sun Jiaro said proudly. Sister Zhihua is very capable. She can talk to Xiao Shikuan's beloved son, Xiao Yunhao. Kid, you should learn from her. Jiang Tian said calmly, Sister Zhihua, don't work with the Xiao family. You will lose out. I'm afraid that their villas will not sell well. What do you know? You're just boasting shamelessly. Sun Jiaro was annoyed and scolded disdainfully. The Xiao family is one of the 4 major real estate families in Hong Kong. Their assets are tens of billions, maybe even hundreds of billions. The projects they are working on have all been scientifically evaluated and calculated before they are developed. You're a bumpkin from the mainland. Can you understand? Oh, I understand now. Suddenly, Sun Jiao said mockingly, Sister Zhiro, you still haven't changed your mind. You're definitely still harboring evil intentions toward Sister Zhiro. You're pretending to be amazing to show off and attract her attention. Unfortunately, it's too late. You're already married. Bah. What am I talking about? Even if you're not married, why would Sister Zhiro like a poor mainland guy like you? Jiang Tian hadn't even said a word. Sun Jiao's mouth was like a machine gun shooting at Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian was speechless. Don't worry, I'm just here to treat Uncle Wu. I don't have any other thoughts. Jiang Tian glanced at Wu Zhihua who was driving. Didn't mean that. Don't take it to heart. Wu Zhihua said calmly while driving. Zhihua, don't you know who the Xiao family's opponent is? Jiang Tian smiled faintly and did not care. Wu Zhihua frowned but did not say anything. It was unusual for her to receive the Xiao family's business. The Xiao family also had a real estate marketing department. Why would they outsource their sales? She had also heard that the reason why the Xiao family had outsourced the marketing business was that they wanted to reduce the cost and make their sales difficult. They don't have an opponent. The Xiao family is invincible in the real estate industry. Sun Jiao glanced at Jiang Tian with disdain. You idiot, you don't know how powerful Hong Kong's real estate industry is. Chapter 694. These two women did not know about Xingyuan Immortal Healing Village at all. Jiang Tian was surprised to see this. It seemed that the Xiao family's public relations skills were quite good. They actually blocked the news from Hong Kong's media. Perhaps the Medicine King Group and Xingyuan Immortal Healing Village were only known by the upper class in Hong Kong. However, Jiang Tian did not say anything. With the sharp-tongued Sun Jiao present, he would be criticized no matter what he said, right? Seeing that Jiang Tian did not say anything, Wu Zhihua and Sun Jiao despised Jiang Tian even more. Sure enough, he was just trying to attract Wu Zhihua's attention. However, he really did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. At this time they passed by a group of high-end villas in Nightwave Bay. Sun Jiao pointed and said, Look, these are the high-end villas developed by the Xiao family. She sighed with longing. I heard that the best villas are priced at 700 to 800 million HKD. It'll be great if I can live there. Jiang Tian also looked over. Seeing this, Sun Jiao said disdainfully, Jiang Tian, there's no such good villas in China, right? What do you think? You must be shocked. Not bad. Jiang Tian nodded helplessly. These villas only had a beautiful view of the bay. In fact, they were small and stingy. Not to mention the immortal palaces and shrines that Jiang Tian had seen in his previous life. Compared to Xingyuan Immortal Healing Village, they were like thatched cottages. Jiang Tian was already being polite to avoid the two women's quarrel. If he were to give a real evaluation, he would definitely say that it was trash, a dog house and a rundown house. However, when she heard Jiang Tian's nonchalant words, Wu Zhihua was so angry that she rolled her eyes. This was one of the best villas in Hong Kong. Compared to the villas in Mid-Mountain, Deepwater Bay and Repulse Bay, those who lived here were all celebrities and tycoons. Where in China could you find such villas? Jiang Tian, have you seen a better villa than this? Sun Jiao had nothing else to say. Poor people in China were really exaggerating. In order to show off his extraordinary knowledge, he deliberately suppressed others to elevate himself? What do you mean I've seen it before? I have more than 1,000 villas that are 10 times or 100 times better than this. Jiang Tian was flirting with Qing'er on the phone and blurted out subconsciously. But as soon as he said that, he regretted it. If you have 1,000 villas like this, wouldn't your assets be hundreds of billions? Sure enough, Sun Jiao laughed so hard that tears came out of her eyes. Bro, that's not how you pick up girls. Do you think it's enough to just brag? You don't stand a chance. Since he had already spoken, Jiang Tian decided to go one step further and said calmly, Sister Zhiro, if you want to make money, I have a profitable real estate marketing project for you. 1 billion Hong Kong dollars profit is not a problem. He had no intention of pleasing Wu Zhihua at all. On one hand, the Wu family's real estate company was quite influential in Hong Kong. Jiang Lin used to be in the pharmaceutical industry. She and Jiang Chao's sales team were completely unprofessional. It was better to leave it to the Wu clan. On the other hand, When the Medicine King group was still in its early stages, the Wu clan had indeed helped the Jiang family. Jiang Tian also wanted to return the favor. But in Wu Jiruo's eyes, it was simply a big joke. Jiang Tian still hadn't made any progress. In fact, he was even more disgusting than before. Bragging without restraint and bragging. She suppressed the disgust in her heart and said calmly, Jiang Tian, thank you for your kindness. But forget it, my company is too small. I'm afraid I can't take on such a huge project. Jiang Tian also saw Wu Jiruo's contempt, but he didn't want to argue with her. As a celestial lord, his magnanimity didn't allow him to argue with such a small fry. Soon they arrived at the Hong Kong Baptist Hospital. The moment he got out of the car, Jiang Tian scanned the hospital with his divine sense and a touch of seriousness appeared on his face. Then he calmed down and walked inside unhurriedly. He came to a VIP ward. He saw a middle-aged man lying on the bed with needles all over his body. He looked like he was on the verge of death. Next to him stood a man in a white coat and gold-rimmed glasses. The other was a middle-aged man in an apricot Daoist robe, carrying a peachwood sword and holding a compass. He looked like a Jianghu person. President Li, Mr. Zhou, sorry to disturb you. Seeing this, Wu Jiruo hurriedly apologized. Master Zhou glanced at Zhou Jiruo and said proudly, hurry up and leave. I'm about to perform the ritual. Please forgive us, Mr. Zhou. Believe. Wu Jiruo was so scared that she shivered. She gave Jiang Tian a look and walked out. Master Zhou was a famous feng shui xianxia master in Hong Kong, and it took a lot of effort to invite him to come here. But at this time Wu Buxiong, who was lying on the bed, raised his hand with all his strength and shouted in a hoarse voice, Jiang Tian, come here. Jiang Tian slowly walked over to the bed and called out, Uncle Wu, my father asked me to come and see you. Good. Good. Now that I can see you, I'm feeling much better. Wu Buxiong was very thin, but his face was full of affection. He smiled happily and said, you're getting more and more handsome. You're just like your father when he was young. You're a talent. Hearing this, Wu Jiruo's heart thumped and she rolled her eyes in anger. How was he a talent? Dad wouldn't want me to be his mistress again, would he? At that time I thought you were sick and confused. Now it seems that you really have such intentions. Uncle Wu, you flatter me. Jiang Tian came here to treat the illness. He didn't talk nonsense. He glanced at Master Zhou and the president and said, how are you going to treat Uncle Wu? How I treat him, do I need to report to you? Do I need your opinion? Master Zhou was suddenly very angry. In Hong Kong he was famous. Usually the people he interacted with were all rich and famous people. Why would he need to talk nonsense with such an unknown brat? You can't cure him. Get out. Jiang Tian directly waved his hand and gave the order for them to leave. He was polite to Wu Jiruo and tolerated her because of Wu Buxiong's face. But for Master Zhou there was no need. What? You, who are you? How dare you talk to me like that? Do you know who I am? Master Zhou couldn't believe it. He was so angry that his face turned green. Jiang Tian, don't be disrespectful to Master Zhou. Wu Jiruo was so scared that she almost jumped up. Master Zhou Jiang was born in a family of Chinese medicine. He is also very powerful. Wu Buxiong explained for Jiang Tian. Master Zhou knew that Jiang Tian's clothes were worth at least hundreds of thousands of yuan. He was shocked. But immediately he put his hands behind his back and said disdainfully, Mr. Wu's disease is not an ordinary disease. All the methods of Chinese medicine are useless. In this world, except for me, no one can cure it. Then tell me, what is Mr. Wu's disease? Jiang Tian asked with a smile. Goo worm. Master Zhou took out a talisman and said proudly, only my superior grade goo summoning talisman can draw out the goo worm and save Mr. Wu's life. You know about goo worms. You are quite knowledgeable. Jiang Tian shook his head and said disdainfully, but unfortunately the worm in Mr. Wu's body is not a goo worm. You are mistaken. Master Zhou was so angry that his body trembled. He pointed at Jiang Tian and said, I am mistaken. How could I be mistaken? This is outrageous. This is outrageous. I never thought that I, Zhou Tianlai, would be able to dominate Hong Kong for 30 years. Superman Li and Xiao Shikuan have always treated me with respect. But today they were humiliated by a young boy. Humph. Ignorant fool. I don't want to cure your disease. Find someone else to cure it. After he said that, he turned and left. Wu Jiruo was so scared that she almost burst into tears. She grabbed Master Zhou's sleeve and begged. Master Zhou, you are a magnanimous man. Why do you have to lower yourself to his level? I beg you, please don't go. If you have any conditions, just say it. The Wu family will agree to it even if we have to sell everything we have. Master Zhou was a well-known figure in Hong Kong. He was the personal disciple of Su Mozhai. Every time he came out of the mountain he would be paid millions of yuan. In the past, the Wu family did not even have the right to talk to him. It was Luo Ziho who introduced him. If it were not for Luo Ziho, Master Zhou would not have come to treat Wu Buxiong. Because of this, Wu Jiruo and Sun Jiaro had always treated him like a god. Sun Jiaro pointed at Zhang Tian and shouted, Zhang Tian, are you crazy? You have been bragging in front of us. How dare you question Master Zhou? This is a matter of life and death. You will kill Uncle Wu. Apologize to Master Zhou now. Fine. Saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. I can save him. But at this time Master Zhou pretended to sigh profoundly. Wu Jiruo and Sun Jiaro were overjoyed. The next moment, Master Zhou raised his hand and pointed at Zhang Tian. He said fiercely, I want this kid to kneel down and kowtow to me. Wu Jiruo hesitated for a moment. She looked at Zhang Tian reproachfully. But Sun Jiaro scolded, Zhang Tian, why don't you kneel down? Kowtowing to Master Zhou is not a disgrace to you. You are not a disgrace. You know, Master Zhou is one of the best in Hong Kong. Many people want to kowtow to him. You want me to kowtow to him? What's so funny about that? Zhang Tian smiled disdainfully. Even Su Mozhai in Hong Kong has to kowtow 3 times and kowtow 9 times when he sees me. Call me senior, or teacher. His skills are rubbish. How can he be called a master? When did master become so cheap? Are you selling him by the pound? You are so rude. Ignorant fool. Grandmaster Su's skills are as profound as the heavens and the earth. He has unfathomable power. How dare you disrespect him like this? Master Zhou was so angry that he jumped 3 feet high. He gritted his teeth and wanted to tear Zhang Tian into pieces. Zhang Tian, you don't cause any more trouble, okay? I beg you. Get out. Get out of here now. Seeing this, Wu Jiruo was so angry that she felt dizzy. She was so anxious that she was about to burst into tears. You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. You have a death wish. Sun Jiaro's face was full of disdain. She pointed at Zhang Tian's nose and shouted. Master Su Mozhai is a godlike figure. He is Superman Li's guest of honor. He can drink and chat with chief executive. You should know that if your arrogant words spread, you will be torn to pieces by Master Su's followers. Chapter 695. Next to him, President Li felt that Zhang Tian was also a doctor and felt a sense of closeness. He smiled bitterly and said, Mr. Jiang, you may not know this since you are new to Hong Kong. Master Zhou's spells are very profound, especially when it comes to restraining goo worms. He is famous in the feng shui and xianxia circles in Hong Kong. I advise you not to humiliate yourself. Let's call off this bet. Zhang Tian shook his head and said, Don't worry, his spells are far worse than mine. He is not even qualified to be my disciple. You really don't know what's good for you. President Li was so angry that his face turned green. This kid was really boasting shamelessly and did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. Which spellcaster is not an immortal? You are just a kid and you want to compete with Master Zhou in spellcasting? Fine. If you want to embarrass yourself, then I won't stop you. How arrogant. Too arrogant. Jiang, just you watch. I can draw out the goo worms in 3 minutes. Master Zhou was so angry that he gritted his teeth. He had to kill this kid who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. His face turned cold as he pulled out his peachwood sword. His entire temperament suddenly changed. He suddenly changed from a wretched middle-aged man to a peerless spellcaster who could control the power of heaven and earth. Goo, come out. He chanted a spell and stepped on the ground. After a series of spells, he inserted the yellow paper talisman on the tip of the sword and pointed it at Wu Buxiong's chest. Whoosh! The yellow paper talisman suddenly burst into flames. Seeing this, Wu Jiruo and Sun Jiaro's eyes were filled with admiration. They exclaimed, as expected of a master. Spontaneous combustion without fire. Is this magical power? How magical! President Li was also shocked. All these years he had been studying goo worms, but he did not find anything. He thought to himself that he must learn from Master Zhou after this. Master Zhou finished his spell and chanted, but Wu Buxiong did not move at all. 3 minutes passed, 5 minutes passed, 15 minutes passed. Fine beads of sweat appeared on Master Zhou's face. He began to panic. This goo worm is very powerful. Let me do it again. He took out another talisman and cast another spell. Zhang Tian smiled faintly and said, "He continue. Come on, I'm going to the smoking room to smoke." Then he went out. When Zhang Tian came back, Master Zhou had already completed the second spell and continued to chant and dance. At this moment even Wu Zhiruo and Sun Jiaro were in disbelief. Didn't she say 3 minutes? It had been almost half an hour. Is it about time? Zhang Tian mocked. How about I go out for a smoke again and let you do it 3 or 4 more times? This goo worm is very evil, but if I can't lure it out, you can't either. Master Zhou's face was ashamed, and then he sneered sarcastically. Then let me try. Zhang Tian smiled faintly. Mr. Wu, you have to think this through. At this time Master Zhou hurriedly stepped forward to stop him. This goo worm is very powerful. If he hastily uses it, you might die instantly. Zhang Tian, get out. What do you know about spells? Don't make trouble. If you do something to Uncle Wu, can you afford to be responsible? Wu Zhiruo and Sun Jiaro also scolded. The Zhang family was indeed a family of Chinese medicine, but Zhang Tian was ignorant and incompetent. Besides, this goo worm was not something that could be solved by ordinary Chinese medicine. It belonged to the category of spells. Even if Zhang Tian was a medical master, he could not do it. Zhang Tian was too lazy to talk nonsense with this group of idiots. He looked at Wu Buxiong and said lightly, "Uncle Wu, can I try?" "Zhang Tian, I believe in you, come on." Wu Buxiong had inexplicable confidence in Zhang Tian and nodded with a smile. Zhang Tian looked around, took out a medical jar, unscrewed the cap and pressed it on Wu Buxiong's chest. Then he wrote a few invisible talismans in the air and pressed them on Wu Buxiong's chest. Suddenly, sizzle sizzle sizzle. A black gas gathered at the chest and finally emerged from the glass jar. The black gas billowed, giving people a sense of evil. The black gas was very viscous, like black glue. It seemed to be alive, like an octopus, constantly colliding in the glass jar. What is this thing? It's disgusting. Seeing this, Wu Zhiruo and Sun Jiaro's scalp tingled. Mr. Zhang's spells are so powerful. I didn't know your face. Sorry. Sorry for the disrespect. President Li was amazed and looked at Zhang Tian in a new light. He was in awe and respect and bowed respectfully. Even Master Zhou was shocked and broke out in a cold sweat. Oh my god, this is demonic energy. It's terrible. Demonic creatures were very rare. He did not expect to encounter one in his life. Demonic creatures were much scarier than evil spirits. Many spellcasters who could exorcise spirits and exorcise ghosts had died in the hands of demonic creatures. It can be said that fortunately, Zhang Tian took action to solve this demonic energy. If Master Zhou insisted on his own way and caused this demonic energy to backfire, he would be dead. Zhang Tian closed the lid and shook the wide-mouthed jar containing the demonic creatures in front of Master Zhou. He said coldly, "This is a goo worm? Have you seen such a goo worm?" At this time Master Zhou had to admit that he was wrong. "Mr. Zhang, it's my mistake." But he didn't lose, coldly snorted and said, "But you may not have cured Mr. Wu." At this time Wu Buxiong, who had been bedridden for half a month, actually got out of bed and laughed loudly. "I'm fine. There's no need to check at all, I'm fine." At this time Wu Zhiruo and Sun Jiaro were shocked to see. Wu Buxiong's originally shriveled cheeks have swelled up, and the originally gray face has become rosy and translucent, full of vitality. Even a fool can see that Wu Buxiong must have been cured. It's incredible. The two women felt incredulous. Who knew that while Zhang Tian forced out the demonic energy, he also drew a few eternal creation talismans to nourish Wu Buxiong's body. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You must check. However, Master Zhou did not give up and insisted that Wu Buxiong do a full body examination. After President Li checked, Wu Buxiong was indeed cured. The inexplicable shadow in his body disappeared. All indicators were normal and reached the standard of health. "Zhang Tian, thank you. Without you, I'm afraid I can't keep my life." Wu Buxiong took Zhang Tian's hand and said gratefully. On the side, Wu Zhiruo curled her lips. "What's there to thank? How much did the Wu family give to the Jiang family in the past? What a pity. The Jiang family was useless and incompetent. The Medicine King group just got a little better and it was withdrawn from the market and collapsed. Master Zhou, have you forgotten the bet? Why don't you kowtow and admit your mistake? Jiang Tian said lazily. Seeing this, Wu Zhiro hurriedly glared at Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian, forget it, don't be disrespectful to Master Zhou. Who does he think he is? Do you need me to respect him? Jiang Tian said with a cold smile. Master Zhou felt greatly insulted. He straightened his neck and said coldly, Kid, if you dare to be rash, I will kill you. Noisy. Jiang Tian clapped his hand. Smack. With a thud, Master Zhou was slapped to the ground and his knees were bleeding. Jiang Tian, what are you doing? This is too much. Do you have to be so overbearing? Wu Zhiro and Sun Jiaro both felt that Jiang Tian was unreasonable and criticized him. This person is so domineering. Is he an Earth Martial Dao master or a perfected cultivator? Scary. But Master Zhou was horrified. The other party did not even touch him and he was slapped to the ground. It was obvious that his cultivation was heaven-defying. Are you convinced? Jiang Tian asked lightly. I'm convinced. I'm convinced. Master Zhou hurriedly kowtowed like pounding garlic. His cultivation in magic was only perception. There was still a long way to go. If he met such a master he would die. Get out. Jiang Tian flicked his sleeves. Yes, I'll get out. I'll get out. Master Zhou got up as if he was pardoned. He was scared out of his wits and crawled out of the door. Yes, get out. Are you deaf? Get out of here to the hospital gate. Jiang Tian said lightly. Yes. I'll get out. Master Zhou was stunned and suddenly realized. He immediately shrank his head and feet, covered his head with both hands and rolled out like a ball. Uncle Wu, let's go. I'll send you out of the hospital. Jiang Tian smiled and said to Wu Buxiong. In fact, his task of curing Wu Buxiong's strange disease had been completed. He could report it to his father. But when he entered the hospital he found that the devil qi in Wu Buxiong's body and the remaining devil qi in the hospital was very similar to the devil qi near Jiang Zhixing. This made Jiang Tian a little more vigilant. He wanted to see if there were any devils hiding around the Wu family. Jiang Tian, if you have something to do, just do it. But Wu Zhiro suddenly became vigilant. This Jiang Tian wouldn't take the opportunity to stay and get close to her, would he? That would be too disgusting. Sun Jiaro said sarcastically, Jiang Tian, don't you have 1,000 villas to sell? Go do your big business. Why are you mingling with poor people like us? What are you talking about? Jiang Tian is our guest. Wu Buxiong glared at the two women and then praised. Jiang Tian, your domineering look is a bit like your mother. Your father has always been gentle and elegant. The more he looked at Jiang Tian, the more he liked him. It was a pity that Zhirua was too arrogant and delicate back then and missed Jiang Tian, a young and handsome man. Dad, you're still praising him. Jiang Tian is too much. Doesn't he know who Master Zhou is? Wu Zhirua shouted in dissatisfaction. Master Zhou had great influence in Hong Kong and had a lot of connections. Even if Jiang Tian had some ability in terms of Dao techniques and profound techniques, offending this kind of local tyrant would probably not end well. She couldn't be bothered to care about Jiang Tian's life or death. The key was that Master Zhou was a disciple of Sima Zhai. If Sima Zhai was alarmed and made a move to suppress the Wu family, then wouldn't he have been killed by Jiang Tian? Sure enough, it was as Wu Zhirua had guessed. After Master Zhou rolled out of the hospital he was furious. Many people saw him rolling out of the hospital just now. Not only did they laugh at him but they also took photos and videos. If news of this were to spread out, wouldn't his reputation be ruined in an instant? Humph, I can't just let it go. Master Zhou gritted his teeth and said, this time I'm going to ask the little witch to kill this mainland guy. The little witch is the granddaughter of Master Sima Zhai. She is his true disciple. If she makes a move, this mainland guy must be very embarrassed. Thinking of the little witch's insidious means, Master Zhou seemed to have seen Jiang Tian's embarrassed and dusty appearance. He laughed sinisterly. Chapter 696. When Jiang Tian, Wu Buxiong and Wu Zhiro returned to Wu Buxiong's apartment in Kowloon Nathan Road, it was already dark. Wu Zhiro was very satisfied with her apartment. There were commercial buildings and apartments on both sides of the street and tourists were everywhere. There were all kinds of neon signs and luxury shops were everywhere. It was a shopping mecca. But Jiang Tian shook his head in his heart. 1,000-feet mansion was only around 90 square meters. If it was in China, it would be an ordinary apartment. The key was that this place was too noisy and filled with the aura of the secular world. He would rather live in a cave than live in a place like this. But Jiang Tian was relieved that there was no demonic aura around. At least Wu Buxiong was safe. Jiang Tian, thank you so much. Make yourself at home. I will go and prepare a few dishes. Let's have a drink later. Wu Buxiong had just recovered from his illness and he was in a good mood. He invited Jiang Tian into the living room and started cooking in the kitchen. When Wu Zhiro reached home, she hid in the study room and said that she was working overtime. She did not want to talk to Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian was helping Wu Buxiong in the kitchen. At the same time, he wanted to know more about the Wu family. Old Master Wu had passed away more than a year ago, and Wu Buxiong was now the head of the Wu family. The Wu family had been in the real estate business all these years. Their biggest client was Hong Kong's Superman Lee's Yellow River Real Estate. Now Yellow River Real Estate had a change of management. The Wu family's connections had been purged and it was not easy to get the business. Furthermore, after Wu Zhiro took over the company, she was not as proficient in the market as Wu Buxiong. Now the Wu family's business was in trouble and their assets had shrunk. They only have less than 100 million renminbi. Yellow River Real Estate changing management? That's just an excuse. Suddenly, a woman in her 40s walked out from the bedroom and sneered. Who doesn't know that Superman Lee from Hong Kong is very close to Song Beishan from the Song family in Beijing? Jiang Tian had offended the Song family, and the Song family knows that we had helped them in the past. That's why they asked Superman Lee to stop us. This woman's makeup was also very exquisite, and she was dressed fashionably. She was bedecked with jewelry and wore branded clothes. However, her cheekbones were very high, her lips were big and thin, and her gaze was sharp. She gave people a feeling that she was mean, merciless, and worldly. Aunt Chu-Chu. Jiang Tian recognized this person. She was Wu Buxiong's younger sister, Wu Chu-Chu, who was also Wu Zhiro's aunt. In his previous life, Wu Chu-Chu had looked down on Jiang Tian. She strongly opposed the marriage between Wu Zhiro and Jiang Tian, and attacked Jiang Tian in every possible way. In her opinion, those who could match Wu Zhiro must be the sons of the 4 richest families in Hong Kong. How could a mainlander like Jiang Tian be qualified? In his previous life, the year 2011 was around the same time. Under the pressure of the 3 most influential families in Jin City, Jiang Tian and Medicine King Group were having a hard time. Jiang Tian had gone to Hong Kong to seek financing to solve their financial problems. However, Wu Chu-Chu and a group of Hong Kong tycoons mocked and ridiculed him. Jiang Tian could only smile and endure the humiliation. But in this life, Jiang Tian was extremely wealthy, and his friends were the Prime Minister of Singapore, the leaders of the Californian conglomerates, and the President of the European Union. He did not care about these tycoons in Hong Kong. Chu-Chu, don't say anything. What are you talking about? Wu Buxiong glared at his sister and then looked at Jiang Tian apologetically. Jiang Tian, please don't take it to heart. Wu Chu-Chu was not going to let it go. She looked at Jiang Tian angrily and said, if it weren't for him, the Wu family would not have fallen to this state. Chu-Chu, if you continue to be so rude, get out of my house. Wu Buxiong shouted angrily. Wu Chu-Chu had always wanted to curry favor with the rich and powerful. For so many years she had been looking at the mountains from one mountain to another, and she had changed boyfriends again and again. In the end, she was still unmarried at the age of 40. Now she was living in Wu Buxiong's house every day. Now, under Wu Chu-Chu's influence, his daughter had developed a similar personality. She was calculative, heartless, and materialistic. Of course, his daughter had received higher education and new business etiquette, so she would not be so straightforward. Not to mention, just based on the fact that Jiang Tian had saved her life, Wu Chu-Chu had no reason or right to be rude to Jiang Tian. Brother, you are so unrepentant. Hanging out with this kind of person will get you killed sooner or later. Wu Chu-Chu was so angry that her face turned red. She flung her sleeves and went into the study. Ignore her. Wu Buxiong smiled at Jiang Tian and said, she hasn't had a boyfriend for too long. Her hormones are out of whack. I'm so annoyed with her. It's okay. Although Wu Buxiong said so, Jiang Tian felt that Wu Chu-Chu was telling the truth. Superman Li's family in Hong Kong might have received orders from the Song family to not do business with the Wu family as a favor. After all, Superman Li's family in China was under the protection of the Song family. Thinking up to here, Jiang Tian could not help but feel somewhat moved. Wu Buxiong had sacrificed a lot for the Jiang family. After a while the dishes were ready. The four of them sat around the dining table chatting as they ate. Wu Buxiong and Wu Buxiong drank a few glasses of wine. Jiang Tian thought for a while and smiled. Uncle Wu, don't worry. I will help the Wu family rebuild. Sister Jira, if you are willing, I can introduce you to Superman Li. A few 100 million worth of business is nothing to me. At the mountain behind Wu Dang, Superman Li wanted to be Jiang Tian's disciple to seek protection. If Jiang Tian wanted to help the Wu family, it would only take him a few words. Jiang Tian, how do you know? Wu Buxiong was shocked. Superman Li had a high status, and even Wu Buxiong had not met him personally. It was because Old Master Wu and Superman Li were of the same generation that the Wu family got the Yellow River property deal. But before Wu Buxiong could finish his sentence, Jiang Tian, are you kidding me? Wu Chuchu screamed exaggeratedly, you know Superman Li? You are too good at bragging. Who is Superman Li? He is the richest man in Hong Kong and a real estate tycoon. When he goes to China, the leaders of the country will welcome him personally. Wu Chuchu sneered. Who do you think you are, Jiang Tian? My father is just a government official. Even your father is not qualified to talk to Superman Li, let alone you. And your family's Medicine King group. It used to be powerful and did well, but didn't it suddenly withdraw from the market in the end? It must have been destroyed by the Song family. This is all your fault. You have harmed the Jiang family and now you want to harm the Wu family? Go away. My family does not welcome scammers. Wu Chuchu had crossed the line. But Wu Zhihua felt what Wu Chuchu said made sense. Jiang Tian, this kind of vain, pompous and evil guy should be slapped in the face like this. Now Medicine King Group had been delisted and the Jiang family had moved overseas. The Jiang family is on the verge of collapse. Why did Jiang Tian visit the Wu family at this time? He must be here to seek help from the Wu family and get some benefits. If you Jiang Tian were to be honest, then it would be fine. I Wu Zhihua might be kind enough to help you and give you a few melons or 2 dates. But you have been lying and bragging all the way here. That's not good. Why are you pretending? You even introduced me to Superman Li. Can't you be more humble? I'm not stupid. I am a new business elite and I have my own judgment. Will I fall for your tricks? Chuchu, what you said is too much. If you continue to do this, get out. Jiang Tian is my guest. This time Wu Buxiong was really angry. He slammed his chopsticks on the table and shouted at the door. I am too much. Wu Chuchu was so angry that she laughed. She stood up and pointed at Jiang Tian with disdain. Who does he think he is? How dare a toad try to eat swan meat? He chased after Zhihua. At that time, many rich young masters in Hong Kong were chasing after Zhihua. The Xiang family's Xianxia. The Tang family's young master Tang. Which one of them is not a business elite? Which one of them is not a young master from a wealthy family? Which one of them is not a business genius? What about you, Wu Buxiong? You looked down on them and even announced that Zhihua and Jiang Tian are going to get married. What happened in the end? The more she talked, the more agitated she became. Her words were like swords and every word she said was sarcastic. In her eyes, Jiang Tian was just an ant that she could step on. So what if he was angry? So what if she stepped on him? Now you have seen what happened to the Jiang family. Who does Jiang Tian think he is? He offended a powerful family in Yanjin and ruined the Jiang family. Our Wu family was also implicated. We sold the villa at Repulse Bay and lived in this small house. How can a disaster like him compare to those rich young masters in Hong Kong? You are a fool. It was you who tried to matchmake Jiang Tian and Wu Zhihua. Those rich young masters in Hong Kong looked down on Zhihua because of that. Zhihua is still unmarried. You have ruined Zhihua's life. Wu Chuchu, just because he cured my illness, he is my benefactor. Based on the fact that Uncle Chongqing once cured father, the Jiang family is our Wu family's benefactor. How can you be so ungrateful? A drop of water should be repaid with a gushing spring. How can you be so rude to Jiang Tian? Wu Buxiong was so angry that he was trembling. He pointed at the door and shouted, "Get out! Don't be a freeloader in my house." Benefactor? Wu Chuchu sneered and said disdainfully, I've heard about what happened in the afternoon. He offended Master Zhou and dared to be disrespectful to Sumo Zhai. He will get you killed. Just you wait. As she spoke, she picked up her bag and hurried out. Jiang Tian, I'll let you be arrogant, I'll let you overestimate yourself. I'll wait to collect your corpse. Chapter 697. After she left, Wu Buxiong was so angry that he sat down on the chair. He couldn't calm down for a long time. Jiang Tian, I'm sorry. After a while, Wu Buxiong stood up and bowed to Jiang Tian solemnly. My sister has been neglected since she was young. That's why she's so arrogant. Uncle apologizes to you. Sorry, Uncle Wu. I don't care. Jiang Tian hurriedly stood up and supported him with his hands, smiling faintly. On the other hand, Wu Zhihua glanced at Jiang Tian with disdain, and a wisp of cold ridicule appeared on the corners of her mouth. You don't care? So what if you care? Give my aunt a good beating? Do you dare? After all, you're here to ask for help. How dare you beat up the god of fortune? You're an idiot, but you're not that stupid. In fact, Jiang Tian really didn't care. He was only here to repay the Wu family's kindness. After that, he would leave. As for being rejected by Wu Zhihua in his previous life, he didn't care anymore. It was like a fleeting dream. He couldn't be bothered to explain Wu Chuchu's misunderstanding. Because he didn't need Wu Chuchu and Wu Zhihua's approval. They were two unrelated people. Jiang Tian, stay at home. Don't go to the hotel. After dinner, when Jiang Tian stood up to leave, Wu Buxiong sincerely asked him to stay. We haven't talked enough yet. You should talk to Sister Zhihua tonight. Just treat her as an elder sister and talk to her. I don't have time to talk to him. I have to work overtime. I have to talk to the people from Yellow River Real Estate tomorrow. Wu Zhihua was shocked. Talk to Jiang Tian? Don't scare me. He's full of bullshit. I can't even answer him. It's too awkward. Forget it, Uncle Wu. I'll stay at the Peninsula Hotel tonight. A few friends are waiting for me. In fact, even without Wu Zhihua's objection, Jiang Tian wouldn't stay there. Zhen Shuai, Qing Yi, and Jiang Tian had made several calls to urge Jiang Tian. It was rare for him to get together with his brothers, so Jiang Tian didn't want to waste time on Wu Zhihua. That's too bad. Jiang Tian, you go and find your friends first, but you must come and stay at our house for a few days. Wu Buxiong helplessly stood up to send him off. He walked Jiang Tian all the way to the door. She then glared at Wu Zhihua behind her and said, Zhihua, why aren't you sending Jiang Tian off? Wu Zhihua had no choice but to send Jiang Tian downstairs. Jiang Tian, thank you for saving my dad today. If you have any difficulties, just tell me. After all, our families have been friends for generations. Although she despised Jiang Tian, Wu Zhihua still maintained her etiquette on the surface. However, he could also feel that she was deliberately keeping a distance from him. I'm fine. Jiang Tian shook his head with a faint smile. If you want money, just say it. Why are you still so stubborn? Wu Zhihua snorted coldly in her heart and couldn't help but say, be careful these few days. You offended Master Zhou, so he will definitely take care of you. Also, it's better to keep your violent and domineering personality in check. Hong Kong is full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. It's not comparable to the mainland. It's okay. Those are just ants. Jiang Tian shook his head indifferently. Jiang Ti. Wu Zhihua was so angry that her face turned red. At this moment, a Mercedes-Benz off-road car parked by the side of the road suddenly opened its door. Master Zhou and a beautiful nun got out of the car and walked over quickly, surrounded by 7 or 8 strong men. From afar, Master Zhou pointed at Jiang Tian and shouted, Little witch, this is the person who hit me. He even scolded Master Sumo Zhai. Quickly take care of him. Jiang Tian, did you see that? This is what you get for stirring up trouble everywhere you go. Zhou Zhihua snorted. She was very pleased. This is Sumo Zhai's granddaughter, Little Witch Su Zixuan. She is very famous in Hong Kong. You will be played to death by her. In Hong Kong, Sumo Zhai's family was even more powerful than Superman Li and Xiao Shikuan's family. Sumo Zhai was proficient in Dharma spells, physiognomy, feng shui, divination, and so on. He had been in Hong Kong for decades and had been challenged by countless foreign sorcerers, tame headmasters and Daoist priests. But he was still famous and was known as the guardian of Hong Kong. Now Sumo Zhai lived in seclusion deep in the mountains of the outlying islands, where wind and water gathered. Basically, only the top tycoons in Hong Kong could invite him to work for them. Usually his granddaughter Little Witch Zhou Xian took care of the daily affairs. Little Witch Zhou Mozhai did not disappoint. She was only 17 or 18 years old, but she had already made a name for herself. Not only in Hong Kong but also in Taiwan, Macau and Southeast Asia. Because of her height, long legs and beautiful appearance, she was a frequent guest of the upper class. Many rich young masters were chasing after her, and she was known as the top socialite in Hong Kong. She will definitely kowtow to me when she sees me. Zhang Tian smiled faintly. Even at death's door you're still being stubborn, still pretending and still boasting. Wu Zhihua could not believe it. She gritted her teeth and walked away. She hated Zhang Tian so much that she did not want to stay a minute longer. I was going to put in a few good words for you, but since you want to die, then go to hell. I don't care about you anymore. Zhang. Master Kong. Little Witch Zhou Xian did not expect to see her idol here. She was stunned for a moment. Flap. She turned around and slapped Master Zhou in the face. She shouted, "Get lost. How dare you disrespect Master Kong? Little Witch, why did you hit me?" Master Zhou was suddenly stunned and covered his face in astonishment. "This is Master Kong. Tell me, should I hit you or not?" Zhou Xian slapped him again. She was so angry that she felt like her lungs were about to explode. "You dare to be disrespectful to my idol? See if I don't beat you to death, you pig head." Zhang. Pasong. Forgive me for not recognizing you. In fact, you are my idol. Master Zhou was stunned for a moment. Suddenly he realized something. He was so scared that his face turned pale. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He was about to kneel down in front of Zhang Tian. "You still want to get close to Master Kong? Do you think you are worthy? Break your legs and kick you out of Hong Kong. Don't let me see you in Hong Kong again." Zhou Xian waved her hand angrily. "Master Zhou, I'm sorry." 7 or 8 strong men rushed up and carried Master Zhou into the alley. They broke his legs and beat him until he screamed in pain. "Master Kong, I didn't expect to see you in Hong Kong." Zhou Xian blinked her big watery eyes and looked at Zhang Tiandao with admiration and adoration. "Master Kong, where do you want to go? I'll treat you. Hong Kong is my territory." "What's so fun about you? Don't covet me." Zhang Tian glared at her and warned her sternly. "I'm not coveting your beauty." Zhou Xian was shocked and quickly waved her hand. Wow, Grandmaster Zhang's magic power was indeed deep and he could read minds. "Don't tell me you know that I took your photo and did those shameful things to you? Oh my god, it's so embarrassing." Zhang Tian smiled and said, "But I'll give you a chance. Send me to the Glory World Club." Zhou Xian was sad and resentful. "I'm all grown up now. I'm already 1.9 meters tall. But you didn't even look at me. Instead you went to the brothel. How could you do this? Master Kong, you have fallen." In the sightseeing elevator, Wu Zhihua saw Zhou Xian hugging Zhang Tian's arm and getting into the Mercedes-Benz together. It can't be. Their posture is so intimate. Does he really know Zhou Xian? Wu Zhihua was shocked and rubbed her eyes. She was just mocking Zhang Tian for being reckless. But now it seemed that Zhou Xian was very respectful to Zhang Tian. She even opened the car door for Zhang Tian. At that moment Wu Zhihua felt that she was an idiot. Her face was swollen. No, he should be controlled and kidnapped by Zhou Xian. But the next moment Wu Zhihua shook her head. Zhang Tian was just a small fry from China. How could he know Zhou Xian? Back at home, Wu Zhihua didn't tell her dad that Zhang Tian was kidnapped. She only looked at her dad and said angrily, "Dad, why do you value Zhang Tian so much?" Zhang Tian is definitely not an ordinary person. Wu Buxiong pondered for a moment and said solemnly, "I advise you to control your temper. Put away your contempt and disdain. Treat him with respect and build a good relationship with him. If you continue to be like this, I'll give you a piece of advice. You will definitely regret it." There were many bad rumors about the Jiang family. They said that the Jiang family was on the verge of collapse under the suppression of the Liu and Song families. They said that the Medicine King group was delisted and that they had run overseas to avoid the limelight. But Wu Buxiong didn't think so, because he realized that Zhang Tian was too calm in the face of Wu Chuchu's mockery. He didn't have any emotional fluctuations at all. Zhang Tian's calm and collected manner made him secretly shocked in his heart. How magnanimous, how strong of a heart and confidence was that? If it were an ordinary person, they would definitely try to defend themselves. They might even argue with Wu Chuchu without any grace. Jiang Tian was calm and happy. It could be said that he didn't get angry for no reason, and he wasn't shocked when faced with a sudden situation. Wu Buxiong had only seen this kind of magnanimity on top bosses like Xiao Shikuan. I regret. Wu Zhihua smiled but didn't say anything. Her eyes were full of mockery. How could it be? Wu Zhihua had seen all kinds of young talents. Not to mention top young masters like Xiao Yunhao and Li Zhikai. Even Luo Ziho, who was pursuing her, was much better than Jiang Tian. Daddy was too pedantic. What was there to care about old feelings? What was there to repay a drop of water with a gushing spring? What was there to look at the future? Wu Zhihua lived in the present. She only married into a rich family and only made friends with rich young masters. As for Jiang Tian, this kind of impoverished family, please die as far as you can think. I don't care what you think. In short, in the next few days, you have to accompany Jiang Tian. How could Wu Buxiong not know his daughter's personality? So he also gave a strict order. Remember my advice today. Don't underestimate Jiang Tian. Don't look down on him. His ability is not something you and I can imagine. It's so depressing. Wu Zhihua had a headache. She still had to meet the executives of Huanghe Real Estate tomorrow. What was the point of bringing Jiang Tian along? It would definitely embarrass her. Chapter 698. Little Witch, I think there have been some strange deaths in Hong Kong recently. In the Mercedes-Benz, Jiang Tian looked at Zhou Xian and said lightly. You and your grandpa investigate and give me a summary. I will check it out when I have time. Don't worry, Master Kong, I will complete the mission. Zhou Xian saluted Jiang Tian like a loyal guard. Don't be so nervous. Jiang Tian shook his head. By the way, Master Kong, Superman Li He Hongchen, and Wan Chili have visited my grandpa many times after you destroyed the Wudang Mountain. Can you give them a chance? Zhou Xian asked boldly. It depends on the time. I will give you a call when it's convenient. Jiang Tian said lightly. Then I will turn on the phone for you 24 hours a day. Zhou Xian said expectantly. A while later, Jiang Tian arrived at Xingshirwang Mansion and met up with Zhen Shuai, Qing Yi, Tan Guangxiu, Jiang Chao and the other young men. When Jiang Tian went to visit Wu Buxiong in the afternoon, Zhen Shuai had already received his Hong Kong ID and passport. To thank his friends in Hong Kong, Zhen Shuai hosted a banquet for them, mainly people from the Xinhua News Agency and the China Joint Office. When Jiang Tian arrived, the banquet reached a climax. If someone asked him which Hong Kong celebrity he wanted to have as his companion, he could invite anyone. Zhen Shuai's net worth was in the hundreds of millions. Although he was not considered rich among the top tycoons in Hong Kong, he was still a rich man for those small celebrities. What's the point of being a celebrity? It's a waste of our time. Zhen Shuai rejected the offer. Although Zhen Shuai looked careless, he was not stupid. He knew that Jiang Tian's help was indispensable for everything he had obtained. He noticed that Jiang Tian's temperament had changed. He did not like these kinds of things, so he did not dare to mess around. Someone whispered, "You can invite any female celebrity you like to spend the night with. They are all clearly priced. Show me the menu." Seeing that Jiang Tian was leisurely sipping his tea and not paying attention to him, Zhen Shuai was tempted and asked in a low voice, "Do you have any from Taiwan?" The pimp nodded and went out to make a call. When he came back, he said, "Young Master Zhen, the Taiwanese actress that you want is in Hong Kong. If she says it's you, she can give you a 20% discount." Zhen Shuai was dumbfounded and asked curiously, "I haven't even said her name and you already know who I'm going to pick. Do you have mind-reading skills?" The pimp smiled embarrassedly and said, "The rich merchants and high officials from the mainland will usually order her." "What price?" Zhen Shuai asked. Broker leaned close to his ear and spat out a number. Zhen Shuai placed the cup filled with XO on the table and said with disdain, "Isn't the price a little too high? My money doesn't grow on trees. Is it gold?" "Inlaid with gold." "It's clearly inlaid with diamonds." Jiang Chao burst out laughing. Broker was probably used to seeing customers from the mainland like Zhen Shuai, so it wasn't strange for him to see customers more boorish than Zhen Shuai. He smiled and said patiently, "Young Master Zhen, imagine the feeling of carrying a goddess that no one dares to profane on your shoulders. Wouldn't you feel that it's worth it?" Zhen Shuai turned his head abruptly and stared at Broker for a few seconds with his hazy, drunken eyes. He slapped his thigh and laughed. "You're really a genius. Just because of what you said, I don't want the discount. Original price. Young Master Zhen, please. Broker raised his glass full of expensive red wine, his face full of respect and reverence. Zhen Shuai raised the wine cup and drank it in one gulp. He called the finance director and said generously, "Transfer money to an account. Do you want to give this big boss one too?" Broker saw that Zhen Shuai and the others were very respectful towards Jiang Tian. That tall man called Qing Yi, who looked like a high-ranking bodyguard, didn't even leave Zhen Shuai's side. He guessed that Jiang Tian should be Zhen Shuai's big brother, so he suggested, "Don't you? My brother doesn't like women. Don't dirty his eyes with those female stars." Zhen Shuai was so scared that his whole body trembled. He warned sternly, "Then this big boss likes men? I can find that too." Broker misunderstood. "Do you think it's your turn to introduce if he likes men? I'm going to do it myself." Zhen Shuai slapped the back of Broker's head and scolded jokingly, "That's enough. If you dare to talk nonsense again, I'll be killed by God Jiang." Broker couldn't believe it. A rich man who doesn't play with women can still be called a rich man. This was too unbelievable. In fact, how could Zhen Shuai's little tricks on the plane escape Jiang Tian's eyes? Jiang Tian sipped his tea and said calmly, "Qing Yi, how has Zhen Shuai been these 2 years? Soaking in wine and meat every day, drinking 3 times a day, surrounded by groups of people who drink and chat with him, play with sports cars, cigars and whiskey. He's Richard Mills' super VIP. When Patek Philippe releases a new product, they'll call him first and send him to try it on. There's a room at home that's specially used to store branded watches. When the watch is turned, the whole wall will turn. He's already bought 7 or 8 sports cars. He's still researching commercial jets and wants to buy one. He doesn't lack women either. He changes them one after another. There are starlets, models, female university students, female secretaries, female executives, female venture capitalists, and all sorts of things. They come and go as they please." Qing Yi shook his head and sighed. In the end, he said a little worriedly, "Jiang Tian, talk to him when you have the time. He's so arrogant. I reckon he can only listen to you now." "Forget it." Jiang Tian shook his head. "It's just a way of life. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong as long as he's happy. He's young and frivolous. When he explodes, it's normal for him to indulge in women." Qing Yi nodded. "Keep a close eye on him. Don't let anyone set a trap for him. Also, don't touch drugs." Jiang Tian said worriedly. Jiang Tian knew that Jinling was a place where crooks mixed with honest folk. There had never been a shortage of rich people. There were both men and women who had already formed gangs and were good at all kinds of schemes. There were women who pretended to be decent and seduced simple-minded IT upstarts. After getting married, they quickly divorced to split half of the family assets. There were women who placed their lovers by their husband's side as assistants. Their positions were occupied, and they worked together to empty the company's assets before running away. Or they used pregnancy as an excuse to blackmail for huge compensation. Some even set up traps to lure people to gamble, take drugs, and so on. "You don't have to worry about that," Qing Yi hurriedly said. "Zhen Shuai's father used to be an old policeman. He's very clear-headed. Now that he's retired, he's helping him keep an eye on his company. Also, Su Jinlei is covering for him." Jiang Tian nodded slightly. He wasn't used to such noisy occasions. He returned to the hotel to rest first and let them continue playing. The next morning, Jiang Tian was meditating. Jiang Chao knocked on the door and took Jiang Tian and the others out to relax. After a while, the brothers gathered together. Jiang Chao suggested, "The food in the Peninsula Hotel isn't good. Let's go to the food stall next to the Bauhinia Plaza. The deep well roast goose there is not bad." Since they were here to play, of course, they wanted to eat some local specialties. No one had any objections. Jiang Tian wasn't interested in Hong Kong. When he was in Linzhou, he often came to Hong Kong and played there many times. However, Zhen Shuai, Qing Yi, Tan Guangxu and the others didn't want to stay in the hotel. After all, they had to organize some activities. Hong Kong was a very crowded city. Every inch of land was worth an inch of gold. The streets were narrow and the so-called Bauhinia Plaza was only the size of a palm. At the Yongji porridge stall next to the plaza, Jiang Chao ordered a table of food in one go. Everyone ate and chatted. At this time, Jiang Tian's phone rang. It was Wu Zhiro. Wu Zhiro seemed to have forgotten about yesterday's unhappiness. She asked, "Jiang Tian, where are you? I'll accompany you." "There's no need." Jiang Tian frowned. "Do you think I want to talk to you?" If it wasn't for my dad's order I wouldn't talk to you. Wu Zhiruo complained in her heart. However, she said coquettishly, Jiang Tian, you are a guest in Hong Kong. I have to be a good host. Then come to the Yongji porridge stall next to the Bauhinia Plaza. I'm having breakfast with my friends. Jiang Tian nodded. He could bring her to meet Superman Li or Li Zhikai at night. He called Su Zixuan and asked her to arrange it. On Wu Zhiruo's side. On the first floor of the Peninsula Hotel. She hung up the phone and smiled disdainfully. What a joke. You are staying at the Peninsula Hotel but eating at a food stall. I don't believe you. Sighed. Jiang Tian really likes to show off. Sun Jiao shook her head and said disdainfully, he must be feeling inferior. That's why he is acting like this. I think this Chinese bumpkin is trying to attract Jiruo's attention. He is already married but he still has not given up. The person who spoke was a handsome young man in luxurious clothes. However, he gave off a frivolous and arrogant aura. A few years ago Luo Ziho met Jiang Tian once. At that time, Father Wu wanted to matchmake Jiang Tian and Wu Zhiruo, so Luo Ziho treated Jiang Tian like a formidable enemy. However, Luo Ziho casually teased Jiang Tian a few times and made Jiang Tian return dejectedly. Now the Luo family's business was getting bigger and bigger. Luo Ziho's position in Wu Zhiruo's heart suddenly rose and he became her #1 boyfriend candidate. Although Luo Ziho and Wu Zhiruo were getting along well and were about to become boyfriend and girlfriend. However, when he thought of his former love rival Jiang Tian, Luo Ziho was still very unhappy. He secretly decided to humiliate him this time. Chapter 699. Why are you being jealous? Don't you find it embarrassing to be jealous of him? Scope. I will play with him for a few days and ask him to leave. I don't have time to play with idiots like him. Wu Zhiruo rolled her eyes at Luo Ziho and walked out of the hotel. She went to the car park and got into her car. I don't want to waste my time on him. Luo Ziho disdainfully got into his car and shook his head. I'm going back to the company. The representative from Yellow River Real Estate will be here soon. At the Wu family's Man Tingchun Real Estate. The Luo family owns a lot of shares in the company and Luo Ziho is their CEO. After a while, Wu Zhiruo and Sun Jiao met up with Jiang Tian and the rest. Looking at the dirty restaurant and the cheap food, the two women were disgusted. They usually go to high-end Western restaurants and a meal costs at least a few thousand RMB. At the very least, Pizza Hut was a place where the elegant bourgeoisie would go. These roadside stalls are dirty and the waiters do not wear uniforms. There are also no famous chefs. These are the places where low-class workers eat. My dad's friend's daughter. This is... Jiang Tian introduced his friends to Wu Zhiruo. Jiang Chao and Zhen Shuai nodded and welcomed the beauties. Wu Zhiruo remembered that this woman had gone on a blind date with Jiang Tian. Never mind. Don't get too close to her. Wu Zhiruo and Sun Jiao wiped the chairs a few times before sitting down. He said he knows Superman Li. What a joke. That's right. Look at his friends. All of them are like hooligans. They didn't eat either. They played with their phones and whispered to each other. Jiang Tian and the rest were dressed casually. Jiang Tian was dressed casually. Qingyi was honest. Jiang Chao was dressed casually. Tan Guangxi was a government official and kept a low profile. Only Zhen Shuai was dressed casually. But he did not look like a nouveau riche. The two women had exquisite makeup and were dressed luxuriously. They looked like they were not from the same world. Jiang Tian and the rest were eating and chatting. Jiang Chao said with a cheeky face. Marshal Zhen, every minute of the night is worth 1,000 gold. Last night was worth 1 million, wasn't it? 1 million a night? Are you serious? Sun Jiao's eyes widened when she heard this. She looked away from her phone and nudged Wu Zhiruo with her elbow. Wu Zhiruo was also half believing and half doubting. She listened attentively. You might not believe it. Zhen Shuai drank the freshly squeezed juice and said casually, I took her to Causeway Bay to eat a bowl of dal noodles. I didn't find it interesting so I chased her away. Have you paid? Jiang Chao asked. Pay as you wish. Fuck you, idiot. If you don't want to do it, I will. I'll be there with just a call. Seeing that Jiang Tian didn't say anything, Jiang Chao mustered up his courage and complained. Zhen Shuai laughed and said, If you go, 1 million won't be enough. You're not as handsome as me. Qingyi ate the shrimp dumplings and asked with a smile, Zhen Shuai, what do you think? Is the gun out of bullets? When have I ever surrendered and not killed? She's older than me and she's very coquettish. I can't stand it. Xianxia took out a cigarette and held it in his mouth, but he didn't light it. He shook his head and said, the key is that she's too tall. He's just like a fucking horse. I'll have to step on him from the back with 2 pieces of cloth. What a disappointment. You're still lacking when it comes to being a playboy. But when it comes to wasting resources, you're definitely the #1 in the Greater China Circle. Zhang Tian laughed so hard that he almost spat out the noodles. It was quite interesting to play with these childhood friends occasionally. The crowd also burst into laughter. Bullshit. Vulgar. At this time Wu Zhiruo and Sun Jiaro understood. They shook their heads and said with disdain. Spending millions in one night just to eat a bowl of noodles with a female celebrity. Even the top tycoons in Hong Kong couldn't do that. Obviously, Zhang Tian and the others had already discussed and deliberately acted like this to attract the attention of the girls. But this was too exaggerated. Can't you be more logical and realistic? However, when Zhang Tian and the others laughed, they attracted the attention of some diners nearby. Don't you know that there's a smoking ban in Hong Kong? No manners. A guy with a dragon and tiger tattoo on his arm saw Zhen Shuai with a cigarette in his mouth and slammed the table and scolded. Zhen Shuai and Zhang Tian were newly promoted playboys. They had followed Zhang Tian to rise and had seen all kinds of big scenes. How could they stand being scolded like this? Zhen Shuai turned his head and stood up. He asked coldly, "Are you blind? I'm only holding a cigarette. Did I light it? Do you want to die?" Wu Zhiruo turned her head and saw that the gangsters were all wearing black t-shirts with the words "Ian Society." She was so scared that her face turned pale. She quickly said, "Don't mess with them. They're members of Ian Society. They're very bad. They don't even blink when they hit and kill people." Zhen Shuai's face was full of disdain. He sneered, "Society? I'm afraid of them. They're nothing. They have to kneel in front of our young master Jiang. How do you know how powerful they are?" Wu Zhiruo's face was solemn and said nervously, "Recently the Hong Kong independence forces have been rising. They've been gathering and marching illegally. It's very chaotic. And Ian Society is their behind-the-scenes supporter. They're the biggest society in Hong Kong. They have more than 100,000 members. More than 1,000 minibuses and tens of thousands of taxis in Hong Kong are all controlled by them. You've heard of Xianxia, right? He's called Master Sheng. He's the #1 boss in Hong Kong's entertainment industry. He's the boss of Huaxing Company. Hundreds of celebrities from Hong Kong, Macau and the mainland came to celebrate his birthday this year. And he's the behind-the-scenes controller of Ian Society. He's nothing." Zhen Shuai complained resentfully. A trace of disdain flashed in his eyes. "My brother Tian is here. Even the chief executive has to be polite, let alone him. You're still pretending? If you have the guts, fight with them." Sun Jiaro couldn't stand this group of mainland pretentious people. Her face was full of disdain as she deliberately mocked them. She wanted to see how long Zhang Tian and the rest could pretend for. "Sun Jiaro, don't stir up trouble." Wu Zhiruo turned pale with fright. Zhang Tian was a mainland bumpkin. If he got into a conflict with them, wouldn't he be tortured to death? How was she going to explain this to her father? "Forget it. Don't disturb Zhang Tian's mood of eating." Qingyi glared at Zhen Shuai. Zhen Shuai was indignant. But he thought about it. Zhang Tian liked peace and quiet. He hated it when people made noise. So he held back his anger and sat down. But their tolerance was seen as cowardly and easy to bully by the bosses of Ian Society. The tattooed man who was the leader scolded sarcastically, "Fuck, these mainland dogs are locusts. They're buying houses on behalf of buyers. They've made Hong Kong a stinky port." Beside him there were a few burly men. They were all tall and strong. Some of them had a head full of yellow hair. Some of them were bald. They looked ferocious. It was obvious that they were not good people. When they heard their boss speak, they started to mock them. "Poor mainland bumpkins, I heard that you can't even afford tea eggs. Fuck, northern aunt and northern sister are all here. Their prices are so cheap that they've stolen the business of the local girls. Their moral standing is as cheap as their social status. I think these people are here with their wives to sell themselves. Their wives are selling themselves and they're counting the money for them." But Qingyi and Tan Guangxi were still fine in the face of such mockery. They were both mature and steady. But Zhen Shuai and Jiang Chao were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. They gritted their teeth and their hands trembled. Brother Tian, how can we tolerate this? Jiang Chao clenched his fists angrily. Brother Tian, don't worry. If you hit them, we can cover for you. We won't let you get into trouble. Zhen Shuai also pleaded. Seeing that they were only talking tough and did not dare to move, the mocking from the other side became even more intense. Oh, what did they say? They want to fight. Are they trying to provoke us? We can bully these mainland bumpkins however we want. If they dare to resist, we'll scare them to death. Come on, hit me. If you don't hit me, you'll take my surname. You're my son. Sun Jero also sneered and mocked at this time. Hee Jiang Tian, why don't you continue acting? Continue acting. Acting tough requires strength. If you don't have strength, you're an idiot. The other party is EN Club. Do you dare to move? If you dare to move, don't even think about leaving Hong Kong alive today. When people scold you, you should just swallow it and be fine. Great, now you can't get out of this situation. Wu Zhihua was relieved when she saw that Jiang Tian and the rest did not make a move. But she could not help but feel even more disdain and contempt for Jiang Tian and the rest. They were indeed pretending. Jiang Tian slowly finished the last mouthful of noodles and wiped his mouth with a tissue. He shook his head and sighed. Since you can't bear it anymore, there's no need to bear it anymore. Let's fight. He was too lazy to fight against this kind of trash. But if Zhen Shuai and Jiang Chao wanted to fight, there was no need for him to stop them. They had the blood of the descendants of Yan and Huang, eating vegetables and food provided by the mainland. After being colonized for a few days, they had forgotten their ancestors and their motherland. They even thought that they were better than others. They were people who had forgotten their ancestors. They did not even count. Do it. If you don't do it, you're cowards. Sun Jero was still mocking with a face full of disdain. She felt that Jiang Tian was completely bragging. How could Jiang Tian dare to provoke the Hong Kong club? But as soon as Jiang Tian's voice fell, Zhen Shuai folded a folding stool and approached. Trash, kneel down and kowtow to admit your mistakes or I'll beat you to death. The few Hong Kong punks had always looked down on the mainlanders. How could they tolerate such arrogance? Damn you. One of them immediately kicked Jiang Chao. One of them even took out a dagger and waved it around, showing off his strength. Damn, I'm afraid that you won't use your dagger. If you take out your dagger, I'll be able to kill you. Jiang Chao snorted coldly and slapped the face of one of the punks in front of him. Blood spurted from his mouth and he fell to the ground. Before the other one could kick, Jiang Chao kicked him in the knee. Crack. The other party's knee was directly broken and blood was dripping. He screamed and fell to the ground, hugging his leg and rolling on the ground. Another person rushed over and Jiang Chao punched him in the chest. The latter flew 5 or 6 meters away. At this time, the other punks realized that Jiang Chao was a martial artist. They were so shocked that their faces turned pale and they did not dare to go forward. Only the tattooed young man who was the leader did not move. He looked at Jiang Chao with a sinister smile and sneered, "Mainland kid, you're quite good at fighting. But do you know who you're fighting? They're all from Ian Club's Wanchai branch. My father is the tiger of Wanchai, Qin Yaoxing. My godfather is the leader of Ian Club, Xianxia. May I ask if you're afraid? May I ask if you can afford to offend them? Now are you regretting it very much?" Then the young man suddenly became cold. His gloomy eyes were full of biting cold killing intent. He slammed the table and roared loudly, "Now all of you kneel down and kowtow to me and I'll let you go. Otherwise I'll make you a corpse on the street." Chapter 700. These mainlanders are definitely going to kneel. Of all the people they could mess with, they had to mess with the E in society. This is Qin Yaoxing's son Jie Zai. And he's the godson of Ian society's leader, Xianxia. Who would dare to mess with them? I'm afraid they'll be killed. Jie Zai and his gang often kill people. They don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. The shop owner, waiters and other Hong Kong diners also looked at Jiang Tian and his gang coldly, their faces full of mockery. "Jiang Tian, how could you really do it? What are you trying to do? Trying to be a hero? Now you're in big trouble." Seeing this, Sun Jero was shocked and shouted angrily. "Didn't you ask us to do it?" Zhen Shuai felt that this woman was retarded and retorted directly. Sun Jero was speechless for a moment, then she danced and argued unreasonably. "I'm asking you to die now, why don't you die? Yes, you can fight, but don't you know how powerful E and society is? They have guns. Is that something you mainlanders and ordinary people can afford to offend? We're all going to die because of you. She was angry and scared and was about to cry. Zhangtian, are you brainless? You really let them do it. Wuxia was also angry. In society, that's not something you can afford to offend. Even I will be implicated by you. Suddenly, Jiezai noticed the tall and snow-white Wuxia. He sneered sinisterly. Oh right, your friends can't leave either. These two girls have to stay with us for a night, then I'll let you go. Fuck, we're just standing there. We're really going to die because of Jiang Tian. Sunjara was so scared that her face turned pale and she was about to cry. And society was shockingly powerful. It was not something a small rich family like them could afford to offend. Wu Zhiruo was calmer and shouted righteously, "You're the ones who scolded and attacked first, and now you want us to apologize. Is there no law in Hong Kong?" "Hee, there is." Jiezai sneered and said, "But Hong Kong's law is to protect the people of Hong Kong, not these locusts from the mainland." "Fuck your mother." Zhen Shuai swung the stool up high and viciously smashed it down on Jiezai's head. Ouch. Jiezai screamed miserably and rolled on the ground. His head was bleeding profusely. He clutched his head in disbelief. He glared at Zhen Shuai and said angrily, "You damned piece of trash, how dare you hit me?" The punks from E and society were also stunned. It was understandable if the mainlanders had taken action just now. Don't they know Jay's identity? But now they already knew Jiezai's background, yet they still dared to make a move. Were they crazy? Remember this forever. Hong Kong belongs to Wuxia. Zhen Shuai approached him with a stool and said coldly, "It will always be an inseparable part of Wuxia. You are a Wuxia citizen. You will never have the right to insult the mainlanders and Wuxia." "I'm not from Wuxia, I'm from Hong Kong." Jiezai struggled to get up, took out a butterfly knife and viciously stabbed at Zhen Shuai. The butterfly knife flashed with a cold light. The speed of the stab was extremely fast, flashing a cold light. It was quite methodical. Jiezai has made his move. He is an expert. The punks were excited. Unrepentant. Jiang Chao's right hand reached out like lightning, pinched his arm and suddenly twisted it. Crack. Jiezai's arm was directly fractured, and the butterfly knife fell to the ground. Jiezai screamed miserably. Zhen Shuai tacitly went forward and hit his face with the stool again. "Your father is the tiger of Wanchai? Come on, show me the tiger." Jiezai staggered and spat out blood. His teeth fell out. Zhen Shuai hit him with the stool again and shouted angrily, "I heard that your godfather is Xianxia. Come on, show me the strong, show me the victory." Jiezai's head was bleeding, his nose collapsed and his head was like a bloody gourd. He was dizzy. "Aren't you arrogant? Didn't you look down on the mainlanders? I am a mainlander. Stand up if you have the guts." Zhen Shuai hit his eyebrows with the stool again. Jiezai fell to the ground, his eyeballs burst and purple and black liquid sprayed all over the ground. Jiezai screamed and shivered in fear. He crawled on the ground like a dead dog and drilled under the table. He had never seen such a ruthless mainlander before. Everywhere he went, he left a shocking trail of blood. "Aren't you awesome? Don't run. Don't be a coward." Jiang Chao kicked the table and dragged Jiezai out like a dead dog. "Didn't you ask me to kneel down and kowtow? Otherwise kill me. Who's the one losing now?" Zhen Shuai took advantage of the opportunity, raised the stool high and smashed it on his knee. Ouch. Jiezai's knee was instantly crushed, blood flowed out. He was in so much pain that he convulsed and fainted. "Fuck you." Jiang Chao flew up and kicked him in the chest again. Whoosh. Jiezai knocked down 7 or 8 tables and fell out of the door. He then knocked into a car by the roadside and slowly fell down. His sternum collapsed, blood spurted out of his mouth and he fainted. Wu Zhiruo and Sun Jiaro were petrified and didn't dare to move a muscle. All the hoodlums had already run a few hundred meters away and didn't dare to approach Chen Fan. A few waiters and diners huddled in the corner, covering their heads with their hands and daring not to say a word. At this time, Jiang Tian slowly stood up and walked towards the silver-gray Bentley outside the door. When he passed by Jiezai, Jiang Tian paused for a second and stomped on Jiezai's hand. The 10 fingers were connected to the heart. The unconscious little hero screamed in pain and woke up. Jiang Tian didn't even look at him. He said lightly, You are Xianxia's adopted son? You dare to threaten us with this? Jiang Tian sneered. Please tell him to get out of Hong Kong in 3 days. Otherwise he will die. What did he say? He is too arrogant. Everyone was shocked by Qin Fan's words. Everyone thought that they were hallucinating. Jiang Tian, you are out of your mind. Wu Zhiruo and Sun Jiao stomped their feet and thought that Jiang Tian had a death wish. Xianxia was the leader of the Yi society in Hong Kong. Rumor had it that he was a branch of the 9-story pagoda in Taiwan and had connections with the Hong sect, the fucking gang in Japan and the United Bamboo Gang in Taiwan. Xianxia had been in Hong Kong for decades and was a force to be reckoned with. Not even the police dared to mess with him. How dare Jiang Tian say something like that? He must be tired of living. We are staying at the Peninsula Hotel. If he is not afraid of death, he is welcome to challenge us. Then Zhen Shui pointed a finger at Jie Zai's nose and scolded him. Xianxia, my ass. He is nothing compared to my brother Tian. Motherfucker, he's even barking when I'm eating. After that, the group of hoodlums swaggered out of the food stall. You are crazy. You have no idea what you are talking about. You are digging your own grave. Wu Zhiruo rushed out of the restaurant. She was so angry and anxious that she started to beat her chest and stomped her feet. Those Chinese bumpkins were not qualified to challenge Xianxia. They were going to be toyed with. They are so cunning. They are not staying at the Peninsula Hotel. How can Xianxia find them? Sun Jiao suddenly realized something. The next moment Sun Jiao said fearfully, but let's just ignore them. A wise man will not stand under a dangerous wall. Wu Zhiruo thought about it and agreed. She walked quickly to Jiang Tian and said apologetically, Jiang Tian, I have a business meeting today, so you, okay. Go ahead. Jiang Tian knew what she was thinking, but he didn't blame her. But I have an appointment with Superman Li's son. When are you free? It's Superman Li again. Wu Zhiruo was so angry that she wanted to kick Jiang Tian away. She said coldly, I am sorry. I told you that I am very busy today. She waved her hand and walked away. Humph. Show off. Show off to your heart's content. Let them play you to death. I am too lazy to care about you. Jiang Tian and the others also wandered around casually. After breakfast they drove away. Suddenly Qingyi raised his eyebrows and said, Jiang Tian, there are 3 cars following us. Don't be nervous. They are our people. They're also Hong Kong police. Jiang Tian shook his head and smiled bitterly. He was afraid that his visit this time did not escape the attention of Wuxia's officials, which made Hong Kong very nervous. Sure enough, a black Honda off-road vehicle sped up and drove side by side. The window rolled down and in the passenger seat, Colonel Xu Wei, the liaison officer of Battle Dragon, looked at Jiang Tian and smiled sweetly. Master Kong, Mr. Chow and Mr. Yi are worried that someone here will provoke you, so they sent me here. Thank you. Jiang Tian nodded. In the other police car there was a woman in a black suit and white shirt. The woman wore big sunglasses, but from her jade-white chin and bright red lips, one could tell that this woman was also a stunning beauty. She looked straight ahead and did not even look at Jiang Tian. She only showed him her police officer badge and introduced herself. Hong Kong Police Department, Senior Inspector of Public Relations Department Fang Minxia. You don't have to. You are an eyesore if you follow me. Jiang Tian said indifferently. Fang Minxia turned the steering wheel and forced the silver Bentley to stop. Fang Minxia got out of the car quickly and knocked on Jiang Tian's window. Jiang Tian rolled down the window and said indifferently, What? Fang Minxia frowned and said coldly, Mr. Jiang, you and your friends have caused trouble as soon as you arrived in Hong Kong. Do you know that you are in danger now? Police beauty, you worry too much. In Hong Kong no one can do anything to me. Jiang Tian said indifferently. Do you know who you beat this morning? Fang Minxia said angrily. Xianxia's godson. Jiang Tian laughed. Who does he think he is? Even if Xianxia was here and dared to clamor with me, I would still slap him. Mr. Jiang, you don't know about Xianxia's influence in Hong Kong. Fang Minxia was stunned at first, then she looked at Jiang Tian with disdain. He controls tens of thousands of members of Yi society. He has the power to topple mountains and overturn seas. Even my father has to be courteous when he sees him. This man was too ignorant. The ignorant were fearless. Who's your father? Fang Gui, the director of Hong Kong Police Department. Fang Minxia said. What bullshitian society? Aha, the remnants of the Communist Party, the scum of society. Jiang Tian said calmly with a cigarette in his mouth. The Hong Kong Police Department does not crack down on crime, but they are courteous to a gang leader and even warned me, a law-abiding citizen. Don't you think it's ridiculous? If we were in China, we would have already ruled over him. Why would we let him live until now? Gangs run amok and commit murder on the streets. You call Hong Kong the safest city in Asia? What a joke. Chapter 701. It's not that the Hong Kong police don't want to arrest him. Fang Minxia's face turned red, and then she defended herself. If the 80,000 members of the Yi Society cause trouble together, Hong Kong will be in chaos. We once investigated him, but he started a march. 80,000 people. Who can control them? Can you? The more she spoke, the angrier she became. In the end, she shouted with a stern voice. Mr. Jiang, I know you are very strong and have a lot of influence in the mainland, but he is a local tyrant. You don't understand the principle that a strong dragon can't suppress a local tyrant. Even if your body is made of iron, how many nails can you crush? Please don't cause me any more trouble. Enough. Jiang Tian coldly interrupted. If you think I'm suspected of breaking the law, then arrest me. If not, then don't follow me. Mr. Jiang, you don't know the seriousness of this matter. Fang Minxia was angry and anxious as she shouted. Xianxia, is that so great? Originally, I didn't plan to pay attention to such a small character, but after hearing what you said, I really want to torture him. Jiang Tian was too lazy to look at her. He expressionlessly rolled up the window and waved for Zhen Shuai to drive. Fang Minxia angrily got into the police car and said, Miss Xu, isn't this Mr. Jiang too reckless? Inspector Fang, I think you're mistaken. Xu Wei said solemnly, Mr. Jiang is not an ordinary person. He is an important ally of Hua Xia's government. The meaning of the conversation between Beijing and your police department is to remind the local forces of Hong Kong not to provoke him. But you are now warning Mr. Jiang. The Public Relations Department has already warned the Yi Society, but I think it's useless. In Hong Kong, no one dares to provoke the Yi Society. So we can only persuade Mr. Jiang. Fang Minxia argued and did not back down. Do you know? Just now, I received a tip that Mr. Zhang's friend Bai Choufei and Zhang Huchen beat up Kai Xiaofei. He is the nephew of Macau's gambling king. He also has a lot of influence. I won't persuade him. Xu Wei said coldly. Mr. Zhang's ability is not something you can imagine. Not to mention the Yi Club. Even if the Lian Gang and the Lianxin Club were to combine forces, they would still not be Mr. Zhang's match. If these young masters of Hong Kong insist on courting death, I'll kill them all. Then let them die. Miss Xu, you're exaggerating. Fang Minxia said with disdain. How much power can a rich second generation from the mainland have? When it comes to wealth, the four great families of Hong Kong and the gambling king of Macau, which mainland person can compare to them? Xu Wei smiled in disdain and couldn't be bothered to explain anything. This group of people added up probably couldn't even compare to a single finger of Jiang Tian's. When Wu Zhiruo and Sun Jiaro returned to Man Tingchun Real Estate Marketing Company, they immediately told Luo Ziho everything that had happened. He's crazy. Luo Ziho jumped up from his chair in shock. The Xiang family is the most powerful family in Hong Kong. Didn't Jiang Tian poke a hornet's nest? We can't care about them anymore. Also, you have to tell Uncle Wu to cut ties with them. Don't let the Xiang family find us. He reported the situation to Wu Buxiong. Wu Buxiong was also a little flustered. He hurriedly said, something might happen to Jiang Tian, but we can't just ignore it. How about this? Stay close to Jiang Tian at all times and protect him strictly. Also, I'll see if I can talk to Xianxia. What? Wu Zhiruo was going crazy. Daddy, a gentleman doesn't stand under a dangerous wall. Why should we care about him? He's the one who got himself into big trouble. Why should we clean up after him? Zhiruo, Jiang Tian will bring you great benefits. Trust your father's judgment. Wu Buxiong immediately called Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian, come to my company. There's a business meeting in the afternoon. Help Zhiruo out. Okay, I'll be right there. Jiang Tian didn't know the whole story, but he could only agree to Wu Buxiong's invitation. Dad, are you crazy? It's such an important occasion tonight. Jiang Tian will mess it up. Wu Zhiro was going crazy. She complained to her dad because she wanted to kick Jiang Tian away. She didn't expect her dad to drag Jiang Tian over. After she told Luo Ziho was so angry that he smashed his cup. This guy was simply a jinx. Jiang Tian hurried to the Wu family's man Ting Chun. Wu Buxiong was already waiting. He brought him around the company and chatted with him. Actually, he just wanted Jiang Tian to avoid him. In the afternoon, Luo Ziho and Wu Zhiro were almost done negotiating with a vice president of Yellow River Real Estate. At night, they held a banquet at a high-end club to invite the vice president of Yellow River Real Estate. At this time, Wu Buxiong called Wu Zhiro and Luo Ziho over. Zhiro, take Jiang Tian with you when you eat. I'm already retired. I won't accompany you. Uncle Wu, don't worry. I'll take good care of him. Luo Ziho knew Wu Buxiong was biased towards Jiang Tian and he was jealous. But he didn't want to appear narrow-minded in front of his elders. That's why he brought Jiang Tian with him. Yellow River Real Estate's vice president Liao was a middle-aged man who looked smart and capable. He had a slim face and a good body shape. His eyes were sharp and he had a sharp temperament. His shirt was white and he was wearing a navy blue Armani suit. His trousers were straight and his shoes were shiny. His Patek Philippe watch was hidden in his sleeves. He looked low-key and tasteful. Yellow River Real Estate was one of the 4 richest families in Hong Kong. The Li family's real estate company was also the head company of the Li Group. Those who were able to become the vice president of such a big company and work for Superman Li and his son were all business elites. When Vice President Liao arrived at the club, he immediately started the banquet. He drank glass after glass of red wine. Vice President Liao was a talkative person. He bragged about his work experience in the US and Europe. However, his boasting didn't leave a trace and it wasn't annoying. He was more like an honest elder imparting his life experience. He was completely different from Sun Jiao, who was an idiot. Vice President Liao. Elite. Those who are able to work for Superman Li must be the cream of the crop. Everyone was also flattering him and President Liao was overjoyed. As for Jiang Tian, Wu Zhiro and Luo Ziho treated him like an invisible person. The banquet was almost finished and the atmosphere was good. Wu Zhiro took out the contract and said, Vice President Liao, let's sign the contract first and then we can talk. Zhiro, finish this glass of wine and let's talk in my car. Vice President Liao passed a glass of red wine to Wu Zhiro. Wu Zhiro was not feeling well. Her body was soft and she felt hot. She used to be a good drinker. What's wrong with her today? But she had to agree to Vice President Liao's request. After all, the profits from this contract were in the tens of millions, and it could solve the company's problems. Yellow River Real Estate was also a big client. Then I will accept your offer. Wu Zhiro smiled sweetly, took the wine cup and was about to drink it. Suddenly, a hand reached over and took the glass away from Vice President Liao and splashed it on his face. What are you doing? With a face full of red wine, Manager Liao stood up abruptly and pointed at Jiang Tian as he furiously shouted. Jiang Tian, what's wrong with you? Wu Zhiro's face turned green. From her point of view, Jiang Tian's actions were brainless and unreasonable. Jiang Tian apologized to Vice President Liao now. Luo Ziho jumped up in shock. Vice President Liao was Superman Li's right-hand man, and he was highly regarded. He was in charge of more than 1 billion in real estate contracts every year. If Vice President Liao had a good impression of him, the Wu and Luo families would benefit greatly, and their companies would be revived. Wu Zhiro and Luo Ziho had spent a lot of effort to get close to Vice President Liao. But now, everything was ruined by Jiang Tian. Mr. Jiang, do you know who Vice President Liao is? How dare you offend him? One of Man Tingchuan's department heads stood up and pointed at Jiang Tian. It's over. It's over. Why is there such a lunatic here? It's all over now. One of Man Tingchuan's vice president exclaimed. He was sweating profusely. In order to get close to Vice President Liao, he had spent millions of Hong Kong dollars just to invite him to the yacht and golf. Why are you so blind? Apologize to Vice President Liao now. Do you know how important Vice President Liao's contract is to the company? How dare you be so rude? Some of the female staff were so angry that their faces turned green. Some of the staff members' eyes were red. In order to come up with the marketing plan, dozens of staff members worked overtime for more than 10 days without rest. How much effort did they put in? Now look at what happened. Jiang Tian's splashing of a cup of wine made Director Liao furious. All his previous efforts had gone to waste. For a moment, everyone in the room was pointing at Jiang Tian. They were angry, mocking, and despising him. It was as if Jiang Tian was a brainless idiot who didn't know when to back down, bringing endless trouble to the company and the Wu family. On the other hand, Jiang Tian sat there calmly and smiled. Who does he think he is? How dare he ask me to apologize to him? How dare you? Vice President Liao was shaking with anger. He glared at Jiang Tian and shouted, "You are the first person who dared to splash wine on me in Hong Kong." He looked at Wu Zhihua coldly and said, "Vice President Wu, I can't believe your staff was so disrespectful to me. I seriously doubt your sincerity. What's the point of talking about the contract?" After that, he stormed out of the room. "Vice President Liao, please wait. He is not an employee of our company." Luo Ziho held him back and begged. He was so anxious that cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Wu Zhihua also tried to persuade him to stay. "Vice President Liao, please calm down. I will make him apologize to you." At that moment she hated Jiang Tian to the core. She had always hated Jiang Tian's pretentiousness. He didn't expect Jiang Tian to go from bad to worse. He actually dared to offend Chairman Liao and ruined his big order. "Sure, but he has to kneel down and apologize to me." Vice President Liao stopped in his tracks and took a wet towel to wipe the wine off his face. He glared at Jiang Tian and said, "If this kid doesn't kneel down and apologize to me, I promise you that as long as I am in Yellow River, you will never get a single cent from Yellow River." He put his hands in his pockets and looked down at Jiang Tian like an emperor. He said without hesitation, "Don't worry, Jiang Tian. If he doesn't kneel down and apologize to me, I promise you that as long as I am in Hong Kong, you will never get a single contract from any real estate company in Hong Kong." Chapter 702. Mr. Liao was not exaggerating. Yellow River Real Estate was one of the top real estate companies in Hong Kong. Mr. Liao had a lot of connections in the industry. It was a piece of cake for him to cut off Man Tingchun's livelihood. Slap. What he got in response was a clean slap across his face. "Get lost." After slapping Mr. Liao, Jiang Tian wiped his hands with a wet towel as if slapping Mr. Liao would dirty his hands. This slap left everyone dumbfounded and at a loss of what to do. Wu Zhihua could not believe her eyes. Luo Ziho's mouth was wide open and his eyes were twitching. Everyone else felt like they were in a dream. Not only did Chen Fan splash wine, he even slapped Mr. Liao. Mr. Liao was the infamous Mr. Liao. Mr. Liao touched his own face. He could not believe what had just happened. Shortly after, a wave of anger enveloped his face. He was so angry that the veins on his forehead bulged. He pointed at Jiang Tian and fiercely said, "Good. Very good. How dare you hit me? Fuck you, I promise you that the Wu family will not survive in Hong Kong." Then he opened the door and stormed out. Even the gentle and refined President Liao, who had graduated from Princeton, exploded in anger. Could be seen how angry he was. After Mr. Liao left, the entire room was dead silent. The atmosphere seemed to have frozen. Everyone's faces were filled with despair. After a while, Wu Zhihua's eyes turned red. She waved her hands and screamed hysterically, "Jiang Tian, what do you want? Do you have a brain? Do you want to destroy the Wu family? What do I have to do with you? Why do you have to do this to me? Man Tingchun is in a precarious situation right now. If we don't get this deal, the company will be finished." Jiang Tian did not say a word. He shook his head and took out his phone to send a text message. There was something wrong with the wine. Mr. Liao asked Wu Zhihua to go to the car. Although Jiang Tian did not like Wu Zhihua, he had to repay Wu Buxiong's kindness. Therefore he could not ignore the situation. After all, if something happened to his beloved daughter, Uncle Wu would definitely not be able to take the blow. However, Jiang Tian was too lazy to explain too much. It didn't matter how much Wu Zhihua misunderstood him. He would leave after repaying his gratitude. However, in Luo Ziho's view, Jiang Tian's expression meant that he was speechless. Although Man Tingchun would suffer losses, the Luo family would also suffer a certain amount of losses, but it would not be a serious blow. Therefore, at this moment, Luo Ziho's schadenfreude was probably unnecessary. He snorted with disdain. "Jiang Tian, oh Jiang Tian, Uncle Wu thinks so highly of you. Is this what you want to bring to the Wu family? Contract voided, enemies on all sides, and the company closed down. Zhang Tian, you're really something. You're really capable. I've seen it all today. It's over. I've worked for nothing for the past few months. My bonus is gone. Bonus? I think we can't even get our salaries paid. Yeah, it's over. The company is over. It's all messed up by this brat. He doesn't have a brain at all. The other executives and employees were also full of hatred. They all mocked and scolded Zhang Tian, wishing they could skin him alive. At this moment, Zhang Tian smiled indifferently. What are you nervous about? It's just a contract worth tens of millions. Zhang Tian, you're really arrogant. Wu Zhihua could not bear to listen anymore. She abruptly interrupted. A contract worth tens of millions. Bring me one. Luo Ziho also mocked at the side. Yes. Young Master Zhang, you're awesome, rich and willful. You're really capable. You're really resourceful. Since young Master Zhang is so capable, why don't you bring me a contract? Sure, don't worry. Don't you want a contract? Zhang Tian sipped his tea slowly and said with a faint smile, that's right. A contract worth hundreds of millions. I'll bring it to you in minutes. Also that Mr. Liao will be back soon. And I'll make Mr. Liao kowtow to everyone and apologize. What the hell? Where did this weirdo come from? Who is Mr. Liao? He's Li Shikai's right-hand man. How dare you make him kowtow to you? Are you kidding me? Full of nonsense. Is this guy a lunatic? Everyone facepalmed. They were so angry at Zhang Tian that they were speechless. Yes, he must be crazy. Wu Zhihua's heart skipped a beat. Zhang Tian had been crazy for a period of time. Later she heard that he was cured. Could it have relapsed? Yes, it must be so. Otherwise, why would he keep talking nonsense along the way and even hit Mr. Liao now? This kind of crazy person's brain circuit is especially strange. It can't be understood with common sense. There's no way to communicate with him. But I'm dead because of him. Even if I explained to Mr. Liao, he might not believe me. Just as Wu Zhihua was about to scold Zhang Tian, suddenly, the door of the private room was pushed open from the outside. A young man with an elegant demeanor walked in. Behind him was a tall girl in an evening gown. It was the little witch Zhou Xian. The young man was wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. He looked elegant, handsome and gentle. He had an air of nobility about him. This kind of temperament could only be cultivated through years of elite education and living in a wealthy family. Most people could not fake it even if they wanted to. Compared to him, Luo Ziho was like a country bumpkin from the village, dwarfed by him. Li Shikai. Young Master Li, why are you here? We are doomed. Mr. Liao has called for reinforcements. Seeing him come over, everyone stood up one after another. Their hearts were thumping and their expressions changed drastically. Li Shikai. The beloved son of Superman Li, the future leader of the Li family, one of the top 10 Chinese youths in the world, and one of the top 2 young masters in Hong Kong. Superman Li's family was a real tycoon. They had been in power for decades. It could be said that they were one of the wealthiest families in the Chinese community. They had topped the Forbes list of Chinese billionaires several times. As the only heir, Li Shikai could represent the Li family. When he went to China, he was usually received by the leaders of the country. In Hong Kong, he could drink and chat with the governor of Hong Kong and the chief executive of Hong Kong. Although the Wu family and Luo family had some assets, they were nothing compared to Superman Li and Li Shikai. They were like chickens that had seen a phoenix. Zhang Tian, you've killed me this time. Hurry up and apologize to Director Liao. Wu Zhihua stomped her feet and was about to cry. She saw Mr. Liao following behind Li Shikai. He must have asked Li Shikai to put pressure on the Wu family. That was too scary. After all, Mr. Liao could only represent the Yellow River, but Li Shikai could represent the entire Li family. He was like a noble descendant of the heavens. With a single word, he had the power to destroy everything in his path. He could definitely crush the Wu clan into smithereens. Young Master Li, I am so sorry. I didn't expect you to come. Luo Ziho, on the other hand, was like a loyal dog that was wagging its tail and begging for mercy. Then he turned his head to look at Zhang Tian and sternly reprimanded him. Zhang Tian, what are you waiting for? Kneel down and apologize to Mr. Liao. Even Li Shikai is here. He won't be able to withstand the pressure. He will definitely kneel down to Mr. Liao. If I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have done it. This is the consequence of being arrogant. Many people in the room thought that Zhang Tian was dead meat this time. However, an inconceivable scene suddenly appeared. Boss Liao suddenly jumped out like a ferocious tiger, slapped Luo Ziho's face and said angrily, "Shut up, Luo Ziho. Do you want to kill me? Mr. Liao, what are you doing? Aren't I speaking up for you?" Luo Ziho's nose was bleeding and he almost fell to the ground. He looked at Mr. Liao in disbelief. What, Master Kong? Why did he hit Mr. Luo? He is targeting the wrong person. What is Mr. Liao trying to do? Everyone was also stunned and looked at Chairman Liao in disbelief. Their faces were filled with astonishment and confusion. But what happened next was even more shocking. Li Zhikai quickly walked to the front of Zhang Tian, lowered his noble head deeply, bent his waist almost to the ground, and said with the most respectful tone in his life, "Li Zhikai greets Master Kong." What? Master Kong? Everyone looked at Li Zhikai, who was standing in front of Zhang Tian as if he was the most loyal believer in the presence of God. Did I make a mistake? Wu Jiruo's eyes were wide open. She couldn't believe what she saw. She looked at Zhang Tian again for the first time. What kind of person was Li Zhikai? He was actually so respectful to Zhang Tian, a country bumpkin from the mainland. It was unbelievable. What was Zhang Tian's background? What was he capable of? How is this possible? Luo Ziho was also shocked. He couldn't believe it. Originally he thought that Zhang Tian was a country bumpkin from the mainland and was penniless, but he did not expect that he could make Li Zhikai bow his head obediently. Zhang Tian sat on the chair and slowly peeled the grape skin. After peeling the skin, he raised his head and faintly said, "Get up." Li Zhikai ignored everyone's shocked gaze, as if it was natural for him to lower his head to Zhang Tian. He looked at President Liao and scolded, "Bastard, kneel down." Mr. Liao was so scared that his whole body quivered and he immediately knelt down. Slap him. Li Zhikai was neither lukewarm nor angry, but there was a sense of prestige without being angry. Pa 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 pa. The crisp sound of the slap echoed in the silent room, bombarding everyone's fragile nerves. Under the incredulous gazes of the crowd, Mr. Liao actually started slapping himself. He did not hold back at all, as if that face was not his but someone else's. But Li Zhikai was still not satisfied. He raised his eyebrows and said lightly, "Didn't you eat? You guys help him." 3 burly black bodyguards walked in. They looked like boxers or mercenaries. 2 of them held President Liao, while the other one swung his arm and slapped President Liao's face. Pa. With this slap, President Liao's jaw was immediately dislocated, and his cheeks swelled like a bun. Pa. The burly man swung his arm and kept slapping. In the blink of an eye, President Liao's face became swollen, and the bodyguards did not intend to stop. What an honor to be able to work with Master Kang's friend. Li Zhikai's gaze was sharp and he scolded sternly. "But you dog, you don't recognize the real person, you have eyes but fail to see. How dare you bark and threaten in front of Master Kong? Not only did you embarrass our Li family, you also offended Master Kong. Do you know that Master Kong is our Li family's benefactor?" What? Everyone was shocked again and they could not believe it. They looked at Zhang Tian in horror. Chapter 703. Everyone was very uneasy. They had just mocked Zhang Tian. If Zhang Tian was angry, how could they survive? Li Zhikai bowed to Zhang Tian again. A cold, murderous intent flashed across his face as he said in a low voice, "Master Kong, if you are not satisfied, I can make him disappear from this world completely. He is going to kill someone." Everyone was so scared that their hair stood on end and cold sweat poured down their backs. They had never seen Li Zhikai kill so decisively, so ruthlessly and viciously. After all, in front of the media and in front of the public, Li Zhikai had always been gentle and elegant, like a fine young master in a chaotic world. "Grandmaster Zhang, I know I was wrong. I beg you to forgive me and let me off." Mr. Liao was even more scared. He was so scared that he wet his pants. He kowtowed and screamed, "Ask him to leave." Zhang Tian waved his hand casually as if he was shooing away a fly. He was too lazy to argue with such a small character. It was too embarrassing. After receiving Li Zhikai's signal, an assistant respectfully placed a contract on the table and slowly left. Wu Jiruo picked up the contract and looked at it. She was stunned and couldn't believe it. It was a strategic cooperation agreement that would last for 10 years. The contract was 10 times the original amount. The sales of all the real estate projects under Yellow River Real Estate would be handled by the Wu family. Moreover, the benefits were great and the conditions were generous. Could be said that the Wu family could earn 2 to 300 million in a year. Li Zhikai said with a joyful smile. Master Kong, this is the cooperation plan with the Wu family. Consider it a token of our gratitude to Master Kong from the Li family. There was even a trace of fear in his eyes. His hands were even trembling slightly. Others didn't know, but Li Zhikai had heard about Master Kang's great achievements from Superman Li. He was number 1 on the global strong ranking. He dominated the martial arts of Wuxia. He was invincible and suppressed half of the hidden Wudong sect. He was known as Zhou Xian. He fought in Japan, hunted in France, and single-handedly turned Sidonia into the 6th most powerful country in the world, known as Jianglai Nation. Such an expert was like a god, controlling life and death and following his heart. His friends, disciples, and students all benefited from his blessings and became more prosperous with each passing day. Their futures were bright. All those who offended him were crushed into pieces. They were defeated like a landslide and their fates were miserable. There was absolutely no good ending for them. Since they returned from Wudong, Superman Li and his son had been trying their best to get on Jiang Tian's good side through Su Mozhai. But Su Mozhai was only at the periphery of Jiang Tian's camp. He had no say in this. This made Superman Li and his son anxious. This morning, Zhou Xian called and said that Master Kong could come to Hong Kong to meet Li Zhikai. To Li Zhikai, this was simply a blessing from the heavens. How could Li Zhikai let go of such a good opportunity? In the afternoon, he waited at this clubhouse, but he didn't expect that Mr. Liao would make such a big mistake and offend Master Kong and his friends. At this time, Li Zhikai was really scared. He was afraid that Jiang Tian would kill him if he didn't agree with him. After all, Jiang Tian was someone who could easily kill Gong Yile of the 9-story pagoda and Qin Amping of Wudong sect. Wu Zhihua was stunned again. She couldn't help but remember that Jiang Tian said that he would introduce Superman Li and Li Zhikai to him. She also remembered that Jiang Tian said that Mr. Liao would come over to apologize and that there would be a big contract. But she didn't believe him at that time. She only thought that Jiang Tian was bragging to attract her attention. She even thought that he was crazy. But now, Wu Zhihua only felt that her pretty face had been slapped until it was completely red. She even felt that her cheeks were swollen. Young Master Li, you must be mistaken. Luo Ziho thought that Li Zhikai had misunderstood and quickly went forward to say, What Master Kong? His name is Jiang Tian, a mainlander from Jinling. He doesn't know anything. It seems that Luo Ziho and Wu Zhihua don't know Master Kang's strength and seem to dislike him. They're blind. I originally wanted to help the Wu family and Luo family so that I can ride on Master Kang's coattails. But now, it seems that I have to know my limits. Li Zhikai's eyes flashed with a hint of mockery, but he didn't say anything. Instead he smiled and said, Master Kong, my father had invited you several times through Master Su Mozhai. But you were busy and didn't have the chance to meet you. Now that you have finally set foot in Hong Kong, please do me the honor and stay at the Li family for a few days. Let us show our filial piety. After he said that, Wu Zhihua was so shocked that she was dumbfounded. Her hands trembled slightly. Listening to what he said, not only did Jiang Tian know Superman Li, but Superman Li also treated him with respect. He wasn't bragging at all. It was me who looked down on Superman Li and Jiang Tian. Meanwhile, Luo Ziho finally realized Jiang Tian's terrifying strength, and his face instantly flushed red. It seemed that Superman Li had known Jiang Tian for a long time. He knew him very well. Li Zhikai didn't misunderstand him. But I still looked down on him and treated him like a country bumpkin. I was blind. I appreciate your kindness, but it's not necessary. I still have a few friends to accompany. Jiang Tian finally showed a faint smile on his face. Li Zhikai saw this and secretly heaved a sigh of relief. The heavy burden on his heart was lifted. Master Kong smiled. He finally smiled. Great. That's great. This means that at least Master Kong won't make things difficult for the Li family because of Mr. Liao's matter. The Li family is saved. Master Kong, in a few days, the Li family and China Joint Office will be holding a Lantern Festival charity dinner. We will be inviting all the tycoons and celebrities from both sides of the Taiwan Strait. Please come. Li Zhikai gained a little more courage. Once again, his face was full of joy as he earnestly pleaded. Jiang Tian, go. Bring me along too. Wu Zhiruo looked at Jiang Tian and said earnestly, Wuxia is a social society and it is important to make connections. If you can make connections with a heavyweight like Superman Li, you will benefit from it for the rest of your life. Jiang Tian smiled noncommittally. The Li family is so calculative. China Joint Office is the representative office of Wuxia's central government in Hong Kong. The Li family is holding a Lantern Festival charity dinner with them and invited Feng Yu to attend. This is because they want Feng Yu to endorse the Li family and show the other influential people that the Li family has a good relationship with the central government. However, if Qin Jinming wants to expand his business in Hong Kong, he will need the cooperation of these influential people. See, if I have time, I will go. Thinking up to this point, Jiang Tian did not reject him directly and gave him some uncertain information. Good. It will be the Li family's honor. Li Shikai was overjoyed. He glanced at everyone and said, Master Kong, have a good time with your friends. I won't disturb you anymore. I will take my leave now. Li Shikai left with his people. Everyone in the room was silent for a long time. Everyone was embarrassed. After all, they had humiliated Jiang Tian for a long time. In the end, not only did Jiang Tian get the contract back, it was a big contract with several times the profit. Jiang Tian, thank you. Tonight. Finally, Wu Zhiruo broke the silence and wanted to apologize for her rude behavior. But at this time Jiang Tian looked at his phone. Something seemed to have happened on Zhen Shuai's side. His face darkened and he immediately stood up and said, I still have something to do. I won't accompany you. He lifted his foot and left. Master Kong, I'll send you off. Su Zixuan quickly followed. No need. Jiang Tian waved his hand and quickly disappeared into the night. Seeing Jiang Tian leave and ignore her, Wu Zhiruo was a little annoyed. Why was he so arrogant? Didn't he just help me get a contract? However, she was very curious about Jiang Tian. She pulled the little witch Su Zixuan and asked, Miss Su, what is Jiang Tian's background? Even Li Shikai respects him so much? By the way, I apologize on his behalf for offending Master Su Mozhai with his words. He is very vain and reckless. He is always aggressive and doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Su Zixuan originally wanted to talk to Wu Zhiruo. After all, the Wu family and the Jiang family had been friends for generations. But at this time she couldn't help but feel disgusted with her. Just because Master Kong saved your father's life, just because he saved you and helped you today, you shouldn't slander him so harshly. This woman looked like she was full of jewels, but she was too snobbish and not worth being friends with. It was better to stay away from her. Master Kong is an extraordinary person. I hope you respect him and cherish this friendship. Otherwise you will regret it. Su Zixuan's smile gradually faded and she quickly left. I'm sorry, I still have something to do. Goodbye. Extraordinary person? Wu Zhiruo was stunned and her heart moved. So Jiang Tian should be the same as Su Zixuan, a feng shui master or something. Yes. He forced out a black gas from father's body. He must be a feng shui master. In Hong Kong, feng shui was very popular. Many rich and famous people worship people in feng shui. If Jiang Tian learned some feng shui by chance, it was possible to make Superman Li's family respect him. But unfortunately, this respect was only on the surface. Just like in ancient times, Meng Chongjun had 3,000 customers, and even the crows of chickens and dogs would be friends with him. Therefore, Jiang Tian still couldn't be compared to the real young masters of rich and powerful families. He was just someone's lackey. If he had no value, the Li family would immediately abandon Jiang Tian cruelly. A feng shui master and you think you can use a chicken feather as an arrow? You think too highly of yourself. Wu Zhiruo snorted and looked at Jiang Tian with disdain. Others gave you face and you just accepted it. You really let Li Shikai hit you. You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Even if you have some ability, how can you go far? Luo Ziho, you are too useless. You actually got slapped. If this spreads out, won't I be embarrassed to death? At this time Wu Zhiruo was also a bit disappointed with Luo Ziho. He was slapped by Chairman Liao, but he did not dare to fight back. He was too weak. And Chairman Liao's identity was just a high-ranking henchman of the Li family. Seems like Luo Ziho was not comparable to the real rich families. Bruh, the situation is forcing me. In Hong Kong, whoever had the money would have the right to do so. I am not doing this for the company. Luo Ziho's face froze when he heard what Wu Zhiruo said. He was a bit annoyed and he was also jealous of Zhang Tian. Today when compared to Zhang Tian he looked like a fool. Maybe Wu Jira had a good impression of Zhang Tian. No. I cannot let this matter rest. I must find a chance to make Zhang Tian lose face in front of Wu Jira. Chapter 704. On the other hand, Zhang Tian returned to the Peninsula Hotel to meet up with Zhen Shuai and the rest. In the room, apart from Zhang Tian and his buddies, there were also several Hong Kong police officers such as Xu Wei and Fang Minxia. What's going on? Seeing that Zhen Shuai seemed a little uneasy, Zhang Tian asked. I received a few threatening phone calls saying that they wanted to kill me. They said that I touched some woman that I shouldn't have. Zhen Shuai smiled and said, Isn't that funny? I didn't molest her nor did I force her. Why shouldn't I? Mr. Jiang, you saw it. This is the consequence of offending Ian's society. I advise you to apologize to them. Fang Minxia said. Officer Fang, are you crazy? Jiang Chao slammed the table and roared. Black organizations threaten good citizens and ask us to apologize? Shouldn't you be the one who arrested them? They don't admit that they made the threatening phone calls. Fang Minxia retorted angrily. Besides, we don't have any evidence. What can I do? Maybe it really wasn't Ian's society. Zhen Shuai, you didn't sleep with Xianxia's mother. Zhang Tian shook his head and said lightly, However, Officer Fang, help me warn Xianxia from Suning. If he's the one making trouble, come over and kneel before my buddies and apologize. Fang Minxia looked at Zhang Tian as if he was crazy and said sarcastically, Mr. Jiang, do you know what you're talking about? In Hong Kong, who can make Xianxia apologize and kneel? You don't know your place. Hearing this, Zhen Shuai and the rest were a little annoyed and glared at Fang Minxia. Of course I know what I'm talking about. Zhang Tian said lazily. He had already sentenced Xianxia to death in his heart. Zhang Chao said angrily, And you Fang Minxia, I hate you very much. If you can't protect my friends then get lost. Don't follow us, it's annoying. Yeah, we wanted to invite a few local girls tonight but the police are here. We're embarrassed. Zhen Shuai shook his head and said. Dirty. Disgusting. Fang Minxia was so angry that she left. I really don't want to bother with you guys anymore. You really don't know what is good for you. Fighting with Xianxia, you really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. If you want to die then go ahead. The next day, just as Zhang Tian woke up, Zhen Shuai and a few of his little brothers ran over and asked, Brother Tian, what's the activity today? Zhang Tian said solemnly, Next we're going to complete a political mission? What? Political mission? The old master ordered me to do so. I have to do it. Grandpa Chongqing? Everyone asked. Zhang Tian nodded. Didn't he set up a charity fund? One of the projects was to help the veterans of the anti-Japanese war, the War of Resistance, the War of Resistance and the War of Aggression against Vietnam. It includes living allowance, medical treatment and an activity. What? Veteran tour. Zhang Tian sighed. These veterans have shed their blood for the motherland and the people. But some of them don't have a good life and they might not have even been to Hong Kong, Macau or Taiwan in their entire lives. Therefore, the foundation organized them to walk around and see the prosperity and achievements of their motherland. At present, a group of veterans has arrived at Hong Kong's airport. I'll go and pick them up. I don't want to go. I want to go to Macau's casino. What's so fun about those old grandpas? Zhen Shuai was reluctant. Young Master Jiang has spoken. Are you qualified to suggest anything? If you have any opinions, keep them to yourself. Jiang Chao slapped him on the head. Go. These veterans are all heroes. It's very meaningful for us to accompany them. Qing Yi said. In that case, I won't trouble you to pick them up. I'll go personally. You can accompany them during the afternoon tour. Accept the education of patriotism. Zhang Tian quickly finalized, drove a business car and rushed to Hong Kong's international airport. On the way, Zhang Tian received a call from Wu Jira. Zhang Tian, where are you today? I'll accompany you. I'm afraid I don't have time. I have a few important guests from the mainland to receive. Zhang Tian shook his head. He wanted to repay the Wu family's kindness. This was morality. However, it was obvious that Wu Jira was prejudiced against him. Zhang Tian couldn't be bothered to pay attention to her. Later he would give her $1 billion or so and that would be the best he could do. Guests? Wu Jira sneered. If it wasn't for my father forcing me to accompany you, I wouldn't have bothered with you. However, her heart suddenly skipped a beat. Although Jiang Tian was just an eccentric in the world of feng shui, he must know a lot of important people. She might be able to get to know some rich people through Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian also said that it was an important guest. It must be Jiang Tian's big backer in the mainland. She quickly changed the topic and said enthusiastically, Jiang Tian, I'll accompany you. After all, I grew up in Hong Kong. I can be your tour guide. Also, this is my father's idea. If you don't let me accompany you, I'll complain. Then let's meet at Hong Kong's International Airport. Hearing her words, Jiang Tian could not refuse. If Uncle Wu knew that he and Wu Zhiruo did not get along well, he would not feel good. In the airport lobby, Wu Zhiruo, Sun Jiao, and Luo Ziho hurried to meet Jiang Tian. Wu Zhiruo seemed to have dressed up today. She wore a short suit, a snow-white shirt, and a short skirt that revealed her slender legs. She was dressed like a beauty in the workplace. Her makeup was exquisite and glamorous. She wore teardrop-shaped diamond-studded earrings and 8-centimeter high heels, which made her 1.75-meter body look curvy. She stood out from the crowd and attracted everyone's attention. Luo Ziho was also dressed in a tailored Armani suit. He looked well-dressed and had an extraordinary aura. Sun Jiao was also dressed like a cute girl, but she was also wearing branded clothes. He was very outstanding. Compared to the three of them, Jiang Tian was dressed casually and simply. He looked out of place in the luxurious airport. Jiang Tian, thank you so much for yesterday. Wu Zhiruo suppressed the disgust in her heart. She held Jiang Tian's arm and smiled sweetly. Of course, his attitude toward Jiang Tian had not changed. He just wanted to use this opportunity to get to know Jiang Tian's big backer in China. You're welcome. It's nothing. Jiang Tian said casually. Young Master Jiang, I'm really sorry about yesterday. I was worried that you would offend Mr. Liao. It was all out of kindness. Luo Ziho stepped forward and apologized with a smile. However, deep in his eyes, there was a flash of fierceness and jealousy. What was Wu Zhiruo doing? How could she hold his arm? She had never been so affectionate with him. Jiang Tian nodded slightly. Jiang Tian did not care about those irrelevant people. Looking at the timetable, the flight had arrived. But after waiting for half an hour, the guests still did not come down. Jiang Tian, what kind of guests are you welcoming this time? He must be a big shot. Wu Zhiruo said impatiently with a faint smile. They are the guardians of Wuxia, the heroes of the nation, and the most respectable people. Jiang Tian said solemnly. What are you bragging about? Sun Jiao smiled disdainfully. Don't tell me they are the founding fathers of China? Wu Zhiruo and Luo Ziho looked at each other and saw the anticipation in each other's eyes. They waited for another 10 minutes. A total of 11 old men walked out of the airport passageway with the help of a few staff members and arrived late. They wore the same small yellow caps, but most of them were wearing old military uniforms and carrying a flat military water bottle. If one looked closely, some of them were captured trophies of the American and Japanese forces. Most of them seemed to be very poor. Their hands were rough and cracked. They were probably doing manual labor. Some of them even wore outdated green shoes and old cloth shoes. A few of them were disabled. Those with broken legs had prosthetics and crutches. Those with broken arms had empty sleeves. Some of them were even in wheelchairs. They looked like country bumpkins entering a city. Their eyes were filled with nervousness, excitement, joy, and curiosity as they looked around. Blackhead, are you blind? Follow me. Why are you going to the ladies' room? The leader of the group was a relatively healthy old man. He carried a small red flag and walked as valiantly as possible to attract everyone's attention. There were a few words written on the red flag. Veterans Worldwide Tour Group. They are coming. Jiang Tian's face lit up and he hurried to greet them. Are they Jiang Tian's guests? They are a bunch of old men with no status and no ability. Wu Zhiruo and Luo Ziho stood still in the distance. They looked at each other with disappointment written all over their faces. Isn't Jiang Tian wasting our time? What's there to accompany a bunch of old men? He is bragging again. Sun Jiao stomped her feet and gnashed her teeth in anger. Xiaoyuan, how come it is you? Jiang Tian asked in surprise when he saw that the leader was Yuan Kursin. I was wondering why Grandpa Chongqing said that there would be a surprise for me. So the surprise is that you are in Hong Kong. Yuan Kursin didn't expect to meet Jiang Tian here. She ran over with a surprised face and said with a smile, "Humph, now that Sidoni's medical conditions are so good, I have no place to show my skills. Has your medical aid team been disbanded? Where is Yu Jiangchao?" Jiang Tian asked with a smile. "Yes, it has been disbanded. Zhu Jiangchao is now working in Sidoni's Ministry of Health." "You are so cool. You don't even know this," Yuan Kursen said with a smile. Of course, she knew about Jiang Tian's lofty status and terrifying strength. However, she felt that Jiang Tian was not an unapproachable person. Most of the time he was very easygoing. Jiang Tian smiled. There were hundreds of officials in Sidoni's cabinet, not to mention the various ministries and commissions. How could he know all of them? Yuan Kursen said again. "Grandpa Chongqing thought that I did a good job in the medical aid team. Since the Veterans Charity Project was launched, he suggested that I work here. So I came." "Then let's get in the car quickly. The veterans must be tired." Jiang Tian patted her shoulder and said with a smile, "In the next few days they will be the main characters. In the next few days they are the main characters. Our mission is to make them happy, serve them well and keep them company." Chapter 705. "Hey, you're a godlike person. You know how to serve people." "I don't believe it." Yuan Kursen looked at Jiang Tian mockingly and smiled mischievously. "I know how to treat illnesses. If the old men have any difficult illnesses later, I'll treat them." Jiang Tian smiled. Soon Jiang Tian, Yuan Kursen, and the others hurriedly helped the veterans into the car. As for Wu Zhirua and the other two, they did not do anything from the beginning to the end. Some of these veterans were disabled and had difficulty moving. They were dressed shabbily and cowardly. Some had the sequelae of a stroke. Their mouths were crooked and their eyes were slanted. They were even drooling and wearing bibs. It was disgusting. If they wanted to dirty their branded clothes, they would have to throw them away. "Jiang Tian, these people are..." Wu Zhirua followed Jiang Tian and asked when they were about to set off. "They are our benefactors, our backers and our precious wealth," Jiang Tian said without thinking. These veterans had fought bloody battles and braved the rain of bullets to protect Wuxia. They could be said to be the benefactors of every Wuxia people. The patriotism of the veterans could also be said to be the backbone and most precious spiritual wealth of the Wuxia people. These old men look like ordinary people at first glance, and they are even very poor. But they are the benefactors and backers of the Jiang family. They can actually help the Jiang family. It seems that the Jiang family is getting worse and worse. Wu Zhirua immediately despised Jiang Tian in her heart. It seems that Jiang Tian is not doing well in the mainland. I don't know how he tricked Li Zhikai. It seems that I really overestimated him yesterday. Let's not talk about Jiang Tian anymore, right? It's a complete waste of time, Sun Jiao said with disdain. Hee, I've said it before. Jiang Tian is just a loser. He has no ability. Forget it. Since we're here, let's accompany them. Wu Zhirua was also very disappointed. She covered her mouth with her hand and yawned, saying listlessly, "Jiang Tian, I know a restaurant that specializes in Cantonese cuisine. It was very suitable for these old people's tastes. I'll take you there." At this time, Luo Ziho's eyes suddenly flashed with a trace of ruthlessness. He moved closer to Jiang Tian and suggested with a smile. Jiang Tian nodded with an indifferent attitude. Lan Fongyuan Restaurant in Kowloon was a famous restaurant in Hong Kong. This restaurant was located in a crowded area. Business was good and the daily turnover was in the millions. At the entrance of the dining hall, Luo Ziho answered a phone call and then pretended to apologize. "Jiang Tian, I'm really sorry. I have an important client to attend to. I'm afraid I don't have time to accompany you." "Help yourself." Jiang Tian nodded. "Girl, come with me." Luo Ziho glanced at Wu Zhirua and Sun Jiao. "I still have a few words to say to Jiang Tian, so I'll accompany him." Wu Zhirua pulled Luo Ziho to the side. Luo Ziho suddenly became anxious. "Zhirua, he's already married. You can't really... What are you thinking about? Even if he's not married, why would I fall for a loser like him?" Wu Zhirua smiled disdainfully. "I'm staying to make it clear to him. Don't let him pester me anymore. If he wants to take advantage of me, I'll give him 1 or 2 million. Well, okay. Go ahead." Luo Ziho's face lit up. Hee, it's my honor to have a meal with these big shots." Sun Jiao rolled her eyes and laughed coquettishly. She didn't want to have a meal with Jiang Tian. These old people were disgusting. However, he would properly pressure Jiang Tian later and see how he would explain himself. Seeing Jiang Tian and the others enter the private room, Luo Ziho's face flashed with a hint of cunning. He entered the elevator and went upstairs to the general manager's office. Young Master Luo, I saw you just now. I was about to go downstairs to say hello. I didn't expect you to come up first. The restaurant's general manager was dressed luxuriously. He was fair and plump, but he gave people a sense of treachery. He sat behind the luxurious desk with his legs crossed and said with a chuckle, "You're right. Why are you eating in my restaurant? Are those people your friends? If so, I'll serve you real wine." Friends? Fuck them. Luo Ziho sat down, picked up the cigar on the table, lit it and cursed. These bumpkins from the mainland don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. They even pursued Wu Zhiro before. These days they've been going against me. Today you have to make them pay. Oh, looks like they're not friends but enemies. The restaurant's owner, Zhou Yulang, was overjoyed. He slapped his thigh and laughed. Don't worry, young Master Luo. I promise to take care of them. My restaurant has always been a place to bully the mainland people. Also, wasn't Jie Zai beaten up in the Bohemia Square yesterday? It was this Jiang Tian who did it. Luo Ziho's face suddenly turned ruthless and said coldly. I'll go against his lungs. There's a road to heaven but he doesn't take it. There's no door to hell but he still barges in. Zhou Yulong's fat face was full of killing intent and coldness. He didn't look like a legitimate businessman but a ruthless person. In fact, he was really a ruthless person. He was originally a member of the Yi society and ran a lot of illegal businesses. Zhou Yulang grinned and said, after Jie Zai was beaten up, his father, the tiger of Wanchai, Qin Yaoxing, was very angry. Even Boss Xiang was alerted and issued a kill order to find these mainlanders. But he couldn't find them. I didn't expect you to send them here. I owe you for this. Thank you. Don't worry, the Yi society won't treat you badly. If you need any help, just ask. We're good brothers, there's no need to be so polite. If there's a chance, introduce me to young Master Xiang. A trace of pleading appeared on Luo Ziho's face. The so-called young Master Xiang was the crown prince of the Yi society, Xianxia. Although Xianxia's wealth and status were lower than Li Zhikai, Xiao Yunhao and the other 4 young masters of Hong Kong, he could only be considered as a second or third young master. But he had the backing of a society and was also a person who knew everything. Of course, a 4th or 5th young master like Luo Ziho wanted to know him. Hey, I'll do my best. Zhou Yulang agreed, but his heart was full of disdain. A piece of trash like you wanted to be friends with young Master Xiang? Dream on. He was the crown prince of one of the top societies in Hong Kong. Would he care about a small fry like you? Veterans, what do you like to eat? Jiang Tian and the others entered a private room. Yuan Kersen called the waiter and asked the veterans to order. How did you grow this broccoli? It costs 120 yuan per plate? I don't want to eat anymore. This restaurant is too expensive. I have instant noodles here. Ask for some boiled water and bubbles to make do with it. The vegetables in Hong Kong are so expensive. Can we rent the land here? How about we rent the land and grow vegetables here? The veterans opened the menu and looked at the prices. Their faces changed and they threw the menu on the table. They had all come from tough times. They knew that a happy life was not easy to come by and it was easy to be satisfied. They had been trained in the army and developed the habit of being thrifty. They felt that it was too extravagant and wasteful. Why are you so poor? This is just my daily expenses. My meal costs more than 1,000 yuan. Sun Jiaro said disdainfully. Yuan Kersen's face stiffened and said, Grandpas, don't be afraid of wasting money. The rich man is here. Jiang Chongging's grandson, Mr. Jiang Tian. He is very rich. Grandpa, veterans, you just have to eat. You came here just to taste the local specialties. Jiang Tian also persuaded them, you have shed blood for the liberation of our nation and the independence of our country. Now that you are living a good life, it's time to enjoy it. In the whole of Wuxia, you are the most qualified to enjoy it. The veterans hesitated for a while and did not insist. Yuan Kersen quickly ordered the dishes and a few bottles of wine and drinks. Everyone ate happily. Wu Zhiro and Sun Jiaro did not touch their chopsticks. They just sipped their tea. They despised this bunch of old people. They were filthy. Jiang Tian noticed that these veterans were very thrifty. After a plate of food, they poured the soup into a bowl of rice. When the rice grains fell on the table, they carefully picked them up with chopsticks and ate. Wu Zhiruo and Sun Jiao saw this scene and couldn't help but feel even more disgusted and despised. The mainland was too poor. At this time Jiang Tian's phone rang. He looked at the message and smiled. "Veterans, I'll call a big star over today to sing a song for all of you." "Famous singer? Who is it?" one of the veterans asked excitedly. "Li Huiyan," Jiang Tian said with a smile. At this time Wu Zhiruo, who had been holding back the whole time, could not stand it anymore. She said coldly, "Jiang Tian, can you stop bragging?" "Why are you bragging?" Jiang Tian asked calmly. "You have been bragging," Wu Zhiruo said angrily. "You are too vain. It is not scary to have no money and no ability, but it is scarier to brag without ability. Say, who do you think you are going to invite today? They are just a bunch of paupers who would pick up the food that fell on the table to eat." "How much is Li Huiyan worth?" "At least a few hundred million. She is richer than the Wu family. She is one of the top celebrities in Wuxia. Inviting her to sing once would cost at least a few 100,000 or a few million. Can you afford it?" "That means you have the money, but do you have the connections? Li Huiyan is famous in the circle for being virtuous and clean. She doesn't even care about rich and powerful people, let alone you. Even if you have the money and the ability to invite her, is it just for a few veterans? Why do you have to spend the money? Even if you have the money, you shouldn't waste it like that. Are you brainless? You're really showing off all the time, blowing your own trumpet and taking great pains to express yourself. You've even forgotten basic logic and human nature." "Haha, I called Li Huiyan over. She can't be happier." Jiang Tian smiled faintly and said, "Also, you think it is not worth it to spend money for the veterans, but I think it is. It is much more meaningful than buying a few luxury items to decorate the shop." "Haha, is that so? Jiang Tian, you like to brag so much. Did you graduate from a fancy bragging major?" Sun Jiao also seemed to have seen through Jiang Tian. Her face was full of disdain as she said coldly, "Later, you will definitely make a phone call and pretend that Li Huiyan wanted to come, but she had something to do at the last minute or was stuck in a traffic jam, right? What's the point of pretending like that? Jiang Tian, you want to use this method to show off your wealth, your ability, and your connections to me. And then make me regret it. Am I right?" At this time Wu Zhiruo said mockingly, "You are wrong. Even if you know Superman Li and Li Zhikai in my eyes, you are still not a real rich person. You are just a lowly person. You can't pretend to be rich. You are still not worthy of me. Don't be wishful thinking." She pointed at her head and said disdainfully, "Jiang Tian, I heard that you had a problem with your head when you were in Donghai. Do you want to have it checked?" Her words were too harsh. However, Wu Zhiruo was really angry with Jiang Tian. At this time she wanted to shed all pretense of cordiality and ask Jiang Tian to get lost and stop disgusting her. Chapter 706. But Jiang Tian was very calm. He said lightly, "Wu Zhiruo, what are you dreaming about? I, Jiang Tian, can get any woman I want with just a flick of my finger. She still can't forget you and is still brooding over it. If you don't like this occasion and don't like my way of doing things, then just leave. Also, what do you mean I'm not from a rich family? I'm going to pretend to be from a rich family. Which rich family in the world can compare with me, Jiang Tian? You're bragging." Wu Zhiruo's face turned red because of Jiang Tian's provocation. She stood up with trembling body and was about to leave. Suddenly the door was pushed open from the outside. A tall, slender, graceful and radiant young woman walked in. "Young Master Jiang, it's really not easy to meet you." Li Huiyan took off her sunglasses and said with a smile. "Li Huiyan is really here." Wu Zhiruo was shocked and couldn't believe it. Even if Jiang Tian and Li Zhikai were friends, he was just a feng shui master. He was still far from being a real rich family. How could he know Li Huiyan? How could he let her come here obediently? At this time, Li Huiyan was wearing a blue dress. She was radiant and charming. Her figure and temperament were far better than Wu Zhiruo and Sun Jiejia. Compared to the charming Li Huiyan, Wu Zhiruo and Sun Jiao suddenly felt like ugly ducklings under the feet of a white swan. They felt ashamed and ashamed. "Oh my God, I'm not dreaming, right?" Sun Jiao's beautiful eyes were wide open and her face was full of shock. She was a loyal fan of Li Huiyan. She bought all of Li Huiyan's albums and watched all of Li Huiyan's movies. But the distance between them was too far. In her eyes, Li Huiyan was like a goddess. She didn't expect Li Huiyan to appear in front of her. I asked you to sing a song for these old grandpas. Thank you. Zhang Tian said lightly. Zhang Tian, what are you talking about? Li Huiyan sat down in the empty seat next to Zhang Tian and hugged Zhang Tian's arm. It's my honor to sing for you and the veterans. I couldn't ask for more. It's my honor. I couldn't ask for more. Seeing this scene, Wu Zhihua was dumbfounded. In recent years, Li Huiyan had been rising at the speed of a rocket. She was very popular and very cold. It was said that even Li Zhikai and Xiao Yunhao from Hong Kong could not get close to her even if they wanted to. But at this moment she was actually so passionate towards Zhang Tian. At this moment Wu Zhihua's face suddenly turned red. She felt that her face was burning and swollen from the slap. He had just despised Zhang Tian for bragging, but now in just a few minutes he was slapped in the face. Moreover, it was so clear and loud. Grandpa, did you just say that you're a member of the Battle Dragon team? Jiang Tianwen's old soldier leading the team asked. Yes. The veteran leading the team smiled proudly and said, I'm a veteran of the Battle Dragon team who joined the army in 1948. I broke an arm on the battlefield of resisting U.S. aggression and aiding Korea, so I retired. No wonder I can still feel the powerful aura of this veteran at such an old age. Jiang Tian was in awe. He stood up, closed his legs and saluted. Salute the veteran. Mr. Jiang, thank you. Under the leadership of this veteran, all the veterans stood up and returned the salute to Jiang Tian with a solemn expression. The veteran leading the team tried his best to straighten his back that was bent and deformed due to his injury. His eyes were slightly red and his face was solemn. The country's policy of caring for veterans let us know that the party and the country have never forgotten us. The righteous act of the Jiang family and the help from all sides of society let us feel that the 1.3 billion people of Wuxia have not forgotten us. In this life I have never regretted protecting Wuxia and fighting bravely against the enemy. If there is another war, we will still go to the battlefield. Carry a brick and have fun on the 38th parallel. For some reason Li Huiyan was a little moved. She smiled and said, Veterans, sit down. I'll sing a song for you. Singing Motherland. This song is good. It's from Shang Gonling. Guo Lanying sang it before. At that time Qiao Yu and Lu Qi were the current Zhou Zhechuan and Shuang Jiaowen. They were so popular. You're old and confused. That's Zhou Zhechuan and Shuang Zhechuan. My grandson likes it. Singing is like talking. The veterans applauded one after another and were full of praises. After all, Li Huiyan was a professional singer who graduated from a famous music academy. Although she mainly sang pop songs, she could also sing folk songs. A big river with wide waves, the wind blows on both sides of the river. My family lives on the shore. I'm used to the songs of the boatmen and the white sails on the ships. This is the beautiful motherland, the place where I grew up. In this vast place, there are bright and beautiful spring scenes everywhere. Li Huiyan's clear and penetrating voice echoed in the small private room. As they listened, the veterans seemed to recall the days when they fought on the battlefield and died on the battlefield. They seemed to have returned to the days when the flames of war were endless. They thought of their burning youth. They thought of their dead comrades. Their eyes gradually turned red and tears flowed out. This is the hero's motherland, the place where I grew up. In this vast land, there are bright and beautiful spring scenes everywhere. The veterans sang with Li Huiyan. Their voices became louder and louder. They were sorrowful and high-spirited, shouting themselves hoarse. The song ended. The veterans applauded and said with tears in their eyes, Thank you, little Li. You sang very well. We salute you. No, it should be us saluting the veterans. Heroes. Li Huiyan raised her wine glass and drank the red wine in it. Then she bowed deeply and said, It's my honor to be able to sing for you. Without you there would be no strong motherland. There would be no happy life for us in the future. Thank you. Let's drink. The veterans all drank their wine. Then the leading veteran raised his glass with tears in his eyes and said, Let's salute the 203 brothers who died in the Battle of Highland 681. The veterans all burst into tears and raised their glasses. To our brothers. We miss you. They were almost shouting, Chongzi Xiaobing. You all left early and did not see how prosperous our country is now. Hong Kong and Macau have returned to China. The next step is to go to Taiwan. Don't worry. Our brothers from our tour group are going to accompany you all soon. We will have a good chat with you all when we arrive. We have seen the whole country during this trip. It's great. If you all can see it, you will be very happy. At this time, a veteran's phone rang. The private room was very noisy. He took his phone and went out to answer the call. Yuan Kursen quickly went out to accompany him. Unexpectedly, something went wrong on this trip. Don't worry. The tour group is doing very well. Little Yuan and the rest are taking good care of us. We are eating well and having a good time. If you don't believe me, there is even a celebrity Li Huiyan singing for us. The veteran stood at the corner of the corridor to answer the call, and Yuan Kursen was supporting him. At this time, suddenly a blonde waiter rushed over from the opposite side. He was holding a tray with a bottle of red wine on it. Slow down. Don't knock into the old man, Yuan Kursen reminded. But the blonde waiter still knocked into the old man. The old man's body was weak and he fell to the ground. The blonde waiter did not fall. He shook a few times exaggeratedly and threw the tray away. The bottle of red wine fell to the ground and shattered. Yuan Kursen quickly helped the veteran up and asked with concern. Grandpa, are you all right? Although the blonde waiter knocked into him, the veteran still asked with concern. Comrade, are you all right? He did not have a job and he was not injured. But these young people from Hong Kong were busy with their jobs. It was not easy for them to make a living. He had heard that the houses here cost tens of thousands of RMB per square meter. If he was injured, it would affect his work. The veteran meant well, but the blonde waiter pointed at the veteran anxiously and shouted. Damn you! You are a bad old man. How dare you knock into me on purpose? The veteran quickly bowed and apologized. I didn't do it on purpose. But I'm sorry I knocked into you. I apologize. I'm sorry. Although the veteran was not very educated, he was very cultured. He had survived the war and he knew that it was not easy for him to live a good life. So even though he was the one who was knocked into, he still apologized to the blonde waiter. However, he did not know that this accidental collision was originally targeted at him. It was premeditated. Old man from the mainland, why did you come to Hong Kong instead of waiting for your death in the mainland? The blonde waiter seemed to have a prejudice against people from the mainland. He stomped on the phone that the veteran had dropped on the ground and didn't have time to pick it up, crushing it into pieces. By phone. The veteran tried to pick it up, but there was only a pile of parts left. Yuan Kursen was a little annoyed when she saw this. She frowned and said, What's wrong with you? Just deal with it properly. Why are you scolding people? You fucking old man, why did you call me when you were walking? Do you want to die? The blonde waiter roared angrily and was very arrogant. He had done this many times before and he knew the essence of it. Those people from the mainland were stupid and easy to bully. The more arrogant you were, the more scared they would be. Once they were scared, they would obediently pay up. You were the one who knocked into me. Can't you be more reasonable? Yuan Kursen hurriedly supported him and gave him a tit for tat. Where is your manager? Call your manager here. I don't want to talk to you. A mainland loser like you wants to talk to our manager? You think too highly of yourself. The blonde waiter pointed at the veteran's nose again and roared. Old man, pay up, or I'll beat you to death. The veteran was so scared that his whole body trembled. He even couldn't control himself and peed. His urine flowed down his pants and onto the floor. He was old and his body was weak. He had high blood pressure, hemiplegia and many other common diseases. When he was agitated, his whole body would tremble and he would pee uncontrollably. Ah, this old man, he peed his pants. Old man, you are about to die. Don't come out. We don't welcome people from the mainland. What a joke. If you pee on our carpet, you will have to pay up. This is an imported branded carpet. A few more waiters and diners gathered around, pointing at the veteran and laughing mockingly. Chapter 707. Old man, you are so poor. Why do you come to such a high-end place to eat? Isn't the roadside stalls on Temple Street very good? A woman with heavy makeup called Lu Yiding, who had just settled down in Hong Kong from the mainland, mocked him proudly. Grandpa, I'll take you to the bathroom. Yuan Kursen knew that he was going to have a relapse, so she didn't dare to fight with those people lest she scared the old man. Xiao Yuan, I've caused you trouble and embarrassed you. The old man's face was full of guilt and shame. His whole body was trembling and there were tears in his eyes. Yuan Kursen were about to leave, but several waiters stopped them and said arrogantly, Why do you want to run? You haven't paid yet. Didn't you see that our bottle of red wine fell on the ground and broke? Do you still want to deny it? Poor mainlander, pay up. Don't try to deny it or we will call the police. It was obviously him who bumped into the old man. The old man didn't move at all. Yuan Kursen was so angry that she gritted her teeth and her beautiful eyes were full of fire. But on second thought she couldn't let the old man get angry or else he would have a stroke. She tried to suppress her anger, took out her wallet and asked, "Okay, I'll accompany you. Tell me, how much is it?" Old mainlanders are really easy to bully. Today I've made another order. The yellow-haired waiter was complacent. He stretched out 5 fingers and waved them in the air. 500 Hong Kong dollars? Okay, here you are. Yuan Kursen took out the money and handed it over. Xiao Yuan, let me do it. I have a bicycle repair shop. I have money. The old man quickly stopped Yuan Kursen. His rough and skinny hand, which was still covered with black grease under his fingernails, took out a worn-out paper wallet from his pocket and took out small notes of 10s and 8s. The old man was very grateful to the Jiang family and Yuan Kursen. It was the Jiang family who paid for them to come out and see the wonderful world. Now he was useless and got into trouble. How could he let them pay for him? Are you two idiots? This is Cabernet Sauvignon from Luyue wine cellar in the United States. It's 50,000 Hong Kong dollars a bottle. The yellow-haired waiter pushed the old man's hand away and the notes fell on the ground. Then he shouted angrily. 50,000 Hong Kong dollars? The old man was stunned and his voice trembled. It's just a bottle of wine, how can it be so expensive? I only have 20,000 yuan in my savings. This is a famous wine. The blonde waiter said with disdain, "You poor mainlanders, what do you know? Hurry up and pay up." That's right. Isn't it just 50,000 yuan? You think it's expensive? If you can't afford it, then don't come here. Lu Yiding and a few other Hong Kong people echoed. Yuan Ku thought in her heart that there was probably a trap. However, the wine had already been broken, so what else could she do? Besides, Jiang Chongqing had said before that no matter how much money they had to spend, they had to let the veterans have fun and not give them any trouble. Yuan Kursen quickly comforted the old soldier. "Grandpa, don't worry, the Jiang family will pay for this." At this moment, Jiang Tian came out of the private room and asked with a faint smile, "Little Yuan, what's going on?" Yuan Kursen said concisely, "Brother Tian, we've been watching too." At this time Jiang Chao, Zhen Shuai and Qing Yi also came over. They had just come over with Li Huiyan. However, there were too many people in the private room so they didn't go in. They waited outside and saw everything clearly from the beginning to the end. Jiang Tian understood immediately. A trace of sharpness flashed in his eyes as he said lightly, "And transfer the money to them." Yuan Kursen immediately took out her Visa card and brought the old man to the bathroom to change his clothes and diapers before sending him into the private room. Since the old man was in the private room, he wouldn't be affected. Jiang Tian could finally vent his anger. These blonde bastards, after being colonized for a few days, they already thought of themselves as foreigners. They could bully anyone, but they had to bully this bunch of veterans who had sacrificed their lives for Wuxia. Heartless. Jiang Tian had never been so angry before. Fine, isn't it just causing trouble? Let's have a good time today. If he didn't tear down this restaurant today and trample all these disgusting separatists into pieces, then he would have returned for nothing for the past 4 years. You call your manager over. Jiang Tian pointed at the blonde waiter and said, "Okay, don't regret it." The blonde waiter was fearless. He smiled coldly and took out his walkie-talkie to call for someone. A moment later, Zhou Yulang, who was dressed in a suit, quickly walked over and bowed respectfully, saying, "Thank you for your help. Mr. Jiang, I didn't know you were coming. Please forgive me for not going out to meet you. They really made a mistake. It's not 50,000 Hong Kong dollars. Speaking of this." Suddenly he stood up and smiled coldly. "It's not 50,000 Hong Kong dollars, but 500,000 Hong Kong dollars. He was arrogant and said with his eyes on top of his head, "This is 1973 Liyue wine cellar Cabernet Sauvignon. The market value is 600,000 Hong Kong dollars. The waiter didn't recognize the year and reported the wrong price. "I'll give you a discount, 500,000. You don't have to thank me. Are you satisfied with this?" Zhou Yulang was still smiling, but there was a trace of bloodthirsty taste in the depths of his eyes, as if Jiang Tian was a little white rabbit waiting to be slaughtered. "I said call my manager over, you'll regret it." The blonde waiter said arrogantly, "Now, do you want our boss to come over? Huh? A country bumpkin from the mainland, who do you think you are? Why do you have to make trouble? Call your manager over." Lu Yiding showed a mocking expression, crossed her arms and snorted. It's fine if you paid 50,000 earlier, but now it's 500,000. Do you regret it? Is this a scammer? How is this possible? What era are we living in? Jiang Tian couldn't come back to his senses. Scammers were common, but scammers in restaurants were rare. After all, your restaurant is right there. The monk ran to the temple. It was too easy for the victim to report to the police, the Consumers Association, or the Business Administration Department. How could they be so arrogant? Wasn't Hong Kong a society ruled by law? It didn't make sense. Jiang Tian, this restaurant was originally targeted at mainland tourists. They worked together with the local tour guide to trick mainland tourists into eating expensive food. Li Huiyan leaned in front of Jiang Tian and whispered. They would label the menu as US dollars, but the customers would order as RMB or Hong Kong dollars. When they finished eating, they would find that the bill was several times higher. No one is doing anything about it. Jiang Tian frowned. I heard that they have a mafia background. They once killed a northeastern tourist and closed their business for a few days. Then they reopened. Li Huiyan had some projects in Hong Kong, so she came here more often and knew more about it. But their reputation was tarnished and their original scheme was exposed. They were worried that something bad might happen, so they changed to scammers. Of course, they target mainland tourists. The mainland tourists are only here for a few days and they have to leave when their passes expire. It's not convenient to file a complaint or file a lawsuit. The cost is also very high, so most people can only suffer in silence. They killed mainland tourists? Jiang Tian frowned again and a murderous look flashed across his eyes. He then looked at Zhou Yulang and said lightly, 500,000, do you think I'm stupid? That's right, 500,000, not a cent less. Otherwise, bastard, I'll kill you. Zhou Yulang said with a wicked smile. Fine, I'll give it to you. Seeing Jiang Tian's face sink, Jiang Chao raised his hand and slapped Zhou Yulang's chubby face. Who is Jiang Tian? He was the valiant existence that forced France and the European Union to bow their heads and killed an entire country in one battle. A few Hong Kong cowards dared to challenge the great god Jiang. Were they looking for trouble? Zhou Yulang staggered and fell to the ground. His chubby face was swollen and half of his yellow teeth fell out. Blood gushed out. With this slap, Zhou Yulang was stupefied. The blonde waiters were stupefied. The few diners were also stupefied. Are these mainlanders crazy? How dare they hit someone? This restaurant was backed by a powerful backer. They didn't know what was good for them. How dare you hit someone here? Let's see if you can walk out of here alive. The blonde waiters helped Zhou Yulang up and pointed at Jiang Tian and the rest. Fine, fine, fine. How dare you hit me? Just you wait. Sister Min and young Master Xiang are here. What are you going to do? But at this time, Zhou Yulang actually recklessly pointed at Jiang Tian's nose and cursed loudly. Noisy. As soon as Jiang Tian finished speaking, Jiang Chao slapped Zhou Yulang again. The corner of Zhou Yulang's mouth cracked and he fell to the ground, completely silent. Hurry up and inform your boss. Come here in 10 minutes or I'll burn down your restaurant. Jiang Tian looked at the time on his phone. Sister Min? Could it be her? Jiang Tian, you're in trouble. Do you know who the owner of this restaurant is? It's Xu Min. And Sister Min is Xiang Qiangxing's mistress. Sun Jiaro suddenly thought of something and exclaimed with a pale face. In her opinion, Jiang Tian didn't know what was good for him. He was already a dead man and would probably die on the spot. What? Xu Min's restaurant? We're in trouble. Wu Jiao's heart skipped a beat. Even if Jiang Tian and Li Zhikai knew each other, they were nothing compared to the Xiang family in Hong Kong. Jiang Tian would be played to death. Should we give Luo Ziho a call? Sun Jiaro was so scared that her face turned pale. She knew that Luo Ziho knew these people from the mafia. It's no use. Wu Jiao shook her head in despair. The Xiang family was a mafia. They killed people without batting an eyelid. Not to mention Luo Ziho, even Superman Li would not be able to help them. After all, Superman Li was just a legitimate businessman. Thinking of this, she looked at Jiang Tian and said anxiously, Jiang Tian, leave now. Leave Hong Kong immediately. Why should I leave? Jiang Tian said calmly. You're asking me why I should leave? This restaurant is opened by the superstar Xu Min. Wu Jiao was so angry that she rolled her eyes. Are you retarded? You hit Xiang Qiangxing's godson yesterday and you hit his woman today. From their point of view, you're going to fight them to the death. Will they let you go? You're tuning in to the Zhou Xian's Legacy YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.